baseball here. And Bill, last night we got to see each individual part shine in its own right. First, Justin Watland has his first really solid outing in a couple of weeks, and the Otters just rode that all the way through.
I'll agree with you. I mean, he had a solid performance last night from the first pitch, which I made reference to. Remember when I said he opened the game with the first pitch being a strike, and he dominated the rest of the game throwing strikes. So it was a wonderful performance by Whitland.
Well, then you get all the way to the fourth inning. That's when the Otters finally found the scoreboard for the first time. A Steven Sinsley two-run home run, one that there wasn't really a doubt about after it came off the bat towards right field.
I agree, and he's been hitting a few home runs lately, and that is a good sign for the Otters. And you're right, it put us ahead 2-0, and thank God he hit that because we needed those runs later in the game.
Well, then shortly after, it was J.R. Davis who had an RBI double that brought in one more run. Turns out the Otters wouldn't even need that one. They gave up one run in the top of the eighth inning on a pass ball, or a wild pitch, a pitch way out into the opposite batter's box. But other than that, it was a solid pitching performance from all three pitchers we saw from the Otters. Logan Sawyer finally got a chance to come up and have a save opportunity. He hasn't had a save chance in over a week and a half. Well, the Otters put him in a way to get one.
Well, last night was his 10th. Is that correct?
11th of the season.
11th.
Yeah.
Okay, and he looked real good last night.
Yeah.
I mean, he was throwing some 95-mile-an-hour fastballs, and they, again, as you and I have talked, if a reliever's going to come in, he's got to throw strikes, and that's what we had last night. And thank God again he got to save.
Well, you might be seeing there on your screen if you are watching us on Flow Sports. Jeffrey Baez being honored tonight. He hit his 100th career home run a couple of weeks ago, and they are taking the time tonight to honor him for reaching that big milestone. It was a home run that came at Schaumburg. And then he hit one just a couple of days ago at Lake Erie. That one went over 430 feet. So that one might be remembered for a long time for him. But overall, Jeffrey Baez has started to really settle into the Jeffrey Baez we knew we were going to be getting at the beginning of the season, has worked really hard on fixing little pieces of his swing, and we're starting to see a great Jeffrey Baez out there on the field.
Well, I can recall when he first came here last year, and I mean, he opened up his Otter career last year with Lass going off the right or left center field wall there, and I said, oh my God, this guy's here next year. He'll be good for 20 home runs, and he hasn't reached that yet, but still half the season to go.
I mean, we're 3 weeks out, actually 3 weeks from tonight being the All-Star game, and the Otters have 4 different guys who have 9 or more home runs. This is an Otters team that is built to hit home runs right now. They have the most home runs in the league. You have to go 6 more underneath them to find the next team. They're doing it with consistency. They're doing it with a lot of power, but they also have pieces of their offense that's starting to complement the power hitting. You see some steals here and there. Last night we saw a defensive substitution out of nowhere just to focus on let's get these 3 outs. Some new things we're seeing here in Evansville that is, at the end of the day, if it means wins, we're all for it.
Well, I'll tell you, we needed to win last night. We need to win tonight. We need to win tomorrow because Washington's in first place, but Joliet is following us. And if we make a mistake, they're going to come and crawl up over our back and take over second place.
Well, we'll take this opportunity to look through that Seal Corp Frontier League standings. Washington, like you mentioned, still leading the pack. 2.5 games back are these Evansville Otters. Joliet at 5.5 games back in third. But then it is a very tight pack from there on to the bottom. Gateway's at 6 back, Windy City at 7, Florence and Schaumburg both at 8 games back, Lake Erie at 9 games back. In the East Division, Quebec still has their 2-game lead over Ottawa. Then it's a fairly big gap as you go down to Sussex, Tri-City, New York, Trois-Rivières, New Jersey, both tied there in 6th. And then Empire State picked up their 2nd win of the season last night. They could win the series tonight.
I wonder if they had fireworks when they won that second game. I mean,
well, they don't have home games, so they can't. It's hard for them to celebrate.
Oh, that's
full travel team.
That's right. I forgot that. That might be one of the reasons they're not that productive on the field because, again, they got no place to call their home. I mean, you don't have your own locker. You don't know what
You don't
room
have your own bed all year long.
yeah, I mean, you come into a stadium and you say, "Where's the shower?" Because I might be out of the game before the 9 innings over. So,
Well, and I kind of had the belief a few weeks ago when it was looking really grim for the Grays that once they got one win, they were going to start picking them up.
right,
Because once you get something figured out, the game of baseball is pretty simple. Anyone can win any night. It just depends on. You could have the best pitcher in all of baseball, and he could have a rough outing, and just like that, you give a team a chance to be in the game.
that's true. I mean, Ted Williams, one of the better baseball hitters of all time. I mean, he batted 400 once. So other than that, he's a 300 hitter. Well, what does that mean? It means he got 3 hits out of every 10 times he went to bat. The same with a pitcher. I mean, who was the last 30 game winner? Do you remember? He pitched for Detroit. I'll give you a hint. Well, I can't think of his name, but I was on his radio show in Detroit, and I tell you what, he embarrassed me. He asked me questions relative to the San Diego Padres, and all you got to do is make a mistake, and the next thing you know, you're getting a telephone call saying the Greyhound bus is waiting for you, and don't come back.
Well, there is going to be a little bit of difference in the lineups tonight. We'll focus more on that once we actually get kicked off in this game. The big one I want to mention is for Joliet. They will not have third baseman Briley Ware. He's the one who took the pitch off the back of the helmet yesterday. I don't know if this means he's missing the whole series or if it's going to be considered by the time. I can say that he is not put on the IL today, but of course our thoughts are with him. That is a never fun to see when a player takes a pitch off the back of the helmet, especially one that sends the helmet flying like that.
Right.
No Briley Ware in the lineup today. Lane Bearmore once again will take his place. We'll focus more through the Joliet Slammers lineup come game time. As for the Otters, a couple of different changes out there in the especially defensive alignment. That's where you'll see the biggest differences, as you're going to see Andy Armstrong man shortstop this evening. Dakota Phillips stays at third. Davis stays at second. And then, as expected, Biermann and Sinsley rotate between the DH and first base as well. Other than that, Otters looking pretty similar out there. Excited to see Andy Armstrong at short once again. First time in some time he's got a chance out there.
Well, I am an Armstrong fan. Like last night when he came in for defensive purposes, and he made a pretty good play out there, and you commented about it, and I said yes. In my opinion, he's got the best range of any infielder. He's got the strongest arm of any infielder, and he's got the soft hands of any infielder. So why he's not playing every day in short, I don't know. But Andy's the manager. You and I are up here broadcasting. So, but it's good to see Armstrong back in the lineup.
I'll tell you what, it was really uplifting to see Andy McCauley have faith in his guys last night and make that defensive change in the ninth inning and ask two rookies to come into this game and say, you're our strong defensive players. Go in there and get us this win. That shows he has a lot of trust in these two kids.
Well, a manager has to have trust, and a manager has to know his players. That's one of the strengths that he's got to exhibit. Know the strengths and know the weaknesses of your players.
Well, it shows you how much he likes Anthony Torrelas there at third, a guy who just came out of nowhere. A week and a half ago was signed by this team, his very first opportunity as a professional player in his first pro start. He picked up his first pro hit. In his second professional start, it was a multi-hit game, and he got his first home run. And since then, he's locked into gear and just started coasting in a really good form. This could be a surprise third baseman that could end up spending the whole year with the Otters. And when you have a guy like Anthony, and I got to spend some time talking with him, that is as selfless as that. Because he really doesn't care, hey, I'm not going to get to play tonight. I might not get to play tomorrow night, but I'm still part of the team, and I'm bought into what's going on here.
Well, what you're saying is so important because now this may sound negative, and I don't intend it to be negative, but Dakota is not a third baseman. He's a catcher. So when it comes time for defense, like you say, you go in that last 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, and you want to protect that line in that game. You want your best third baseman. That's not saying that Phillips can't do the job.
Well, I'm sure that Dakota Phillips probably liked the idea there. Yeah. Hey, if he can play third better than I can, and we want to win this game, if that means we're getting a win, I think a lot of these guys are going to be bought into that.
That's right. I played for Bob Coleman here in 56 and 57. And I don't recall any Brave ball player ever getting thrown out of a ball game. And his philosophy was, the best I got is out in the field. When you get thrown out of a game, the second best has to take your place. So therefore, if you get fined by the league $5, I'm fining you $5. Not many of us ever got thrown out of a game.
Well, they are out on the field and ready for the national anthem here from Evansville. We'll take one last break. On the other side, we've got first pitch between the Slammers and Otters right here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Don't go anywhere. First pitch is next. Want to remind you that Frontier League Baseball here on Flow Sports is presented by Working Distributors Evansville. Got to have them out at the ballpark just a couple weeks ago. Glad to have them out. I know they're planning on being back in just a couple weeks. Let's introduce you to the man on the mound. Big smile from him as he's getting ready for his next start. The kid, Brett Adcock, returns to the mound for the first time in just over a week's time. His last time on the mound for the Otters was at Florence. He gave up 3 runs on 6 hits in 5 innings of work. We'll talk much more about him as we progress through this game. Adcock on the mound, Felix behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give him a call at 812-475-9000. Let's introduce you to the men he's facing this evening. Kyle Jacobson, Tyler DePriva-Johnson, and Scott Holzwasser will kick off the top 3 for the Slammers. Then you start to see the righties slow down and the lefties start to be integrated as McGarry, Birch, and Steering round up the middle. Maxwell, Barrymore, and Fullerton round out the lineup here. Very right-heavy lineup. They're obviously wanting to attack the righty versus lefty matchup. We'll see how that pays off for the Slammers in just a few seconds. Just about to get started here from beautiful Evansville, Indiana. Again, we've got great weather here for baseball.
I'll say it's a beautiful day at Otterville and located in Evansville, Indiana.
Well, it's the best time of the day. It's time for first pitch. Adcock readies himself on the mound. Walking in is Kyle Jacobson, the leadoff batter for Joliet. Kick and delivery on the first pitch for a called strike at 6:34 p.m.
That flag is kind of draping, not much of a breeze out there.
0-1 from Adcock. Called strike, back-to-back attacking the zone. Like to see that.
Yeah, and he's ahead. Like you say, you like to see your pitchers go 0-2 on the first batter.
Good to see Phillips playing hard towards that left field line, trying to lock up the hot corner. The 0-2 is up high, ball 1. Take this time to walk you through the defensive alignment for the Otters this evening. Pretty typical out there in the outfield. Baez, Gordon, McNamee, just like usual, left to right. Phillips is at third. Armstrong at short, Davis at second, Sinsley at first. A little different look across the infield. The 1-2 to Jacobson. Sent out towards right center field. McNamee gliding to his right side. Seems to be underneath it, and he is for out number one.
I mean, you're talking about a professional outfielder there in McAfee. If you notice, he drifted. He didn't hustle, run like an Olympian. He just glided because he knew exactly where it was.
Well, and there's not anyone in the ballpark right now that has a harder job than Elijah McNamee. That is the hardest position to play from basically 6:30 to 7:45 at this ballpark because of the way the sun sets over the third base side. First pitch to Tyler DePreta Johnson. Stays a bit outside for ball one.
Well, there's another aspect of what you're saying about difficulty. Right-hand batters, when they hit to right field, it's slicing back to the line, not so much going into right center, but more or less toward the foul line.
7 of the 9 hitters tonight for Joliet are right-handed hitters, so it might be a little bit of a test for McNamee out there. 2-0 the count, swung on and missed for the first strike of the at-bat. So far this year, Adcock has only given up 3 hits to left-handed hitters, yet he's given up 15 in the 40 at-bats he's had against righties. Righties have favored him. A 2-1, swung on and missed on a low breaking ball.
Looked like it sank.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say it's a sinker, but it looked like it sank. That's why he went over the batter's bat went over the ball.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The shortstop to DePreta Johnson. Pitch on the way. Well, it was the right idea there, but the pitch never broke down towards the zone.
Yeah, well, he didn't. He released that pitch too high. I think he let it go well before he wanted to.
Payoff pitch lifted towards right field and well foul. Will end up out of play.
You know, you were talking about right field being a difficult place to play at this particular time. Look at all those umbrellas out there at the patio deck, and they're all slanted to protect them from the sun.
Well, if you didn't know, Brad Adcock was acquired via trade for the Otters earlier this season from the Sioux City Explorers in the American Association. Full pitch count, swinging, strike 3. The kid's got his first German-American Bank strikeout of the day. They bring up the right fielder, Scott Holzwasser. And, you know, the year started very well for Brett Adcock. It was up at Ottawa. He gave up no runs on 3 hits through 6 full innings of work, but the Otters lost the game 1-0 because they couldn't manage any offense for him. Since then, he's had a couple of interesting outings. He had one really solid one against Lake Erie. He's looking for a game that he has no restrictions. He's had a pitch count his last couple of games, but no restrictions, gets to go out there and play his game and really set the pace for the rest of the year for himself.
He needs a gem to be put into his pocket. So not just another win, but a gem.
Well, the count evens at a ball and a strike after the foul ball back towards the netting. And it looks like Justin Felix a little bit shaken up after something there. And because of that, the home plate umpire, Marvin King, will have a quick chat with Brett Adcock. It's Marvin King behind the plate. Mike Fitcher is the umpire on the left side of the infield. Mike O'Leary on the right side of the infield.
I wonder what he said to Adcock. Where did you have dinner last night? You know,
they're always laughing when they have those little conversations.
Right.
I always wonder what it is. Yeah. 1-1 from Adcock. Ooh,
that's a curveball.
And did you see when he released that, his hand comes over the top of the ball?
Right.
You usually can't see that from some pitchers, but maybe it's because he's a lefty. You can see his fingertips roll over the top as it releases. This one's lifted high and shallow to left field.
Shortstop out of the way.
Baez will charge in, bring it in for out number 3. 3 up, 3 down to start this one for the Slammers. We head to the bottom half of the first. Gordon, Biermann, and Baez due up for the Otters. It's coming at you right after this on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Ready to go in the bottom half of the first inning here. Let's introduce you to the man on the mound for the Joliet Slammers this evening. An interesting case, if you will. Trevor Sharpie will take the mound. 6'1", 195-pounder out of Anaheim Hills, California. See, Sharpie has appeared in 10 games this year, but only 5 are starts. He's been a closer a couple times for this team as well. In fact, he has one save to go along with his 2-1 record. He can kind of do it all when it comes to the mound.
Well, he must throw strikes if he's going to be a starter and a reliever.
Well, and as you're seeing there on the mound, if you're watching us on Flow Sports, he's pitching almost exclusively out of the stretch as well. He was their full-time closer last year, and he was very good. Now he's taking a role where he's doing a little bit of both. Let's walk through the guys he will face this evening. Miles Gordon, the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, followed by Zach Biermann, Jeffrey Baez, Steven Sinsley. Then you get into Davis Phillips. McNamee returns to the 7-hole for the second straight night. Felix and Armstrong round out the lineup. Got to think that Andy Armstrong is really hungry to prove himself in these next couple of games. He only got a couple of starts on the road, but in all of those, he made sure that he picked up a quality hit, helped out his team around him, and is proving that he is a valuable asset on this infield.
Well, again, the history of baseball is the shortstop, second baseman, center fielder, and catcher can be weak with the bat, providing they give you a good glove out there in the field. Now, if Armstrong is not that strong, I tell you what, he is an excellent bunter. So he could pick up 20 or so hits just on bunts for the year.
Well, the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, will step in. Gordon looking to pick up a hit in this leadoff position, something he's struggled to do a lot so far. First pitch he sees, he fouls off to the left side. It will get out of play well down the line.
I didn't think it went that far.
I didn't think so either, but it kept carrying out there.
But, I mean, if that was fair, it would have been a home run.
Yeah. But after all the excitement, it's just an 0-1 count for Miles Gordon. Pitch on the way towards him. Rides high and inside. Oh, my, that almost was called a strike. I thought for sure it was going to get called.
So did I.
Instead, it's ball one. Count evens up. Defense playing with a bit of a shift to the right side as the first baseman steering, playing really close to that right field line. Almost the same location of the pitch, and it's ball two.
Yeah, a lot of times a player will hit a ground ball up over the pitcher's mound over second base, but the shortstop or second base is playing in back there and rob the guy of a hit. Today wouldn't be that case with these guys.
2-1 is chopped foul to the right side, gets well foul, and out of play. And the count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. I like that we're starting to see solid consistency in the top of this lineup. Gordon, Biermann, Baez, Sinsley, Davis, almost every single night. Those are the first 5, and I like the way that they've worked through the order that way. Okay. 2-2 count for Miles Gordon. On the way, up near the eyes.
Yeah, 3-2 count.
He's sitting ahead in the count on a full count.
Well, it'd be nice if we got the leadoff hitter on base.
Tell you what, Miles Gordon had some huge shoes to fill when Gary Mattis's contract was bought out. As he pushes one to the right side, says, put the shift on me. I don't really care. I'll get a base hit anyway. Leads off the Otters with a single to right field. But that's one of the things that the Gary Mattis signing really hurt, I think, for this Otters squad. Mattis got himself onto first very consistently in the leadoff spot. Then almost always he'd steal 1 or 2 bases, and just like that, the 2-hole hitter has an RBI chance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things we mess with that gentleman you just said.
Yeah, Gary Mattis.
He led the league in stolen bases, did he not?
He did when he left, and in fact, he's still only 5 behind the lead.
Base hit.
Hard strike from Biermann, right back up the middle for a base hit, and Gordon will make the most of it. Center fielder didn't really charge the ball, and Miles Gordon said, all right, I'll take a free base, and there's runners on the corners, no outs.
Well, if you notice that Gordon never slowed down, the play was in front of him, and that's a sign of a ball player that's heads up. The play was in center field. He's going the second he sees the play in front of him, and that's when he threw it in overdrive, and he glided into third base, which is an advantage.
Well, and one of the guys we see do that the best, that heads-up base running, is Jeffrey Baez headed to the plate now.
I knew you were going to say that. I just knew you were going to say that. You are a Baez. You brag about his running all the time.
I tell you what, it is miraculous to watch him move so well. I mean, his size makes him look like a power first, speed third or fourth guy, and he throws teams off with that, I think.
You know, Seton Hall University, I'm going back about 40 years anyway. They had a first base and left-hander.
1-0 to Baez. Sent Sharpie to the left side, through for a base hit. A run's going to score. And just like that, with no outs, the Otters have already got themselves a lead on an RBI single from Jeffrey Baez. And probably the most uplifting thing about this, none of those are walks. Those are all base hits that these guys earned.
That's right, yeah.
So there's runners at first and second with no outs. And, well, one of the scariest hitters on this team, Steven Sinsley, come to the plate. It doesn't matter if the flag is blowing towards him. He'll find a way to arm one out towards right field almost every time.
Well, there is a big gap there between short and third, as well as first and second. So Sinsley has a good opportunity. Don't hit it up the middle.
First pitch to him's a bit outside for ball one.
Yeah, they're jamming up the middle.
They're really trying to limit that double down the right field line right here.
Yeah.
The 1-0 stays low once again, and the count heads out to 2-0 for Steven Sinsley. Baez stands on first. Biermann stands on second. He's made his return, Bill. Secret weapon in attendance tonight with the cowbell and all.
Well, I did say hello to him prior to climbing up these stairs with your help, and he was complaining about the visiting fields with the AstroTurf, how they were affecting the outfielders, and he was saying they were hitting off the walls, and that was hurting the other outfielders.
2-1's the count after a hefty swing from Sinsley. Ended up empty-handed. So here comes the 2-1. This one zoomed down the right field line, and that's exactly why that guy was playing there. Stays just a hair foul. Nice play down there from, I believe, Logan Sawyer. Yes, indeed it was. Kid got a free baseball out of it. Steven Sinsley got strike 2 out of it. Count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, that center fielder shading, maybe 10 foot.
At least,
to
yeah.
Right, yeah.
The 2-2. Sinsley strikes out, swinging on a pitch low and inside. That's a huge out for Trevor Sharpie and the Slammers.
Yeah, double play could get him out of the inning with just 1 run scoring.
Well, J.R. Davis makes his way to the plate now. Davis managed a home run just a few nights ago. Be a nice time for him to add one here. First pitch to him, right down the middle, called strike 1. Taking just a couple extra seconds to get back in the box is Davis. 0-1 on its way towards him. He pushes it to the right side, over the glove of the second baseman, Birch. Rounding third's going to be Biermann. The play towards home, not in time, and another run scores on an RBI single from J.R. Davis.
Yep. That is 4 hits in this inning, and they're all been singles.
And they've all been hard-earned singles.
And that brings up Dakota. We've got runners on first and third. And this is a chance for Dakota to get an RBI fly ball or base hit.
Otters lead by a pair of runs here in the bottom of the first inning, making Trevor Sharpie's life a little bit rough this evening.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, yeah, they're all 4 hits, but they're not really stingers. I mean, they're
hard hit balls.
They're hard hit, but they're through the infield.
Yeah.
So
nothing in the air. It's all been on the ground.
Right. You know, if one of the infielders was playing another 5 or so feet to one of the sides, it might be a ground ball out.
We're going to go check over on J.R. Davis. He's back in time. Davis is at first. Baez is at third.
The guy that invented the game, he knew exactly where to put those players.
Once again, we see the center fielder playing significantly off to the right side. The 1-0 to Phillips goes low and away. Count heads out to 2-0 for Mr. Phillips.
What is you think of JR going to second base? Or JR. I mean, you get out of the double play. He's got good speed.
Down with one out, you don't end the inning with a failed stolen base.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, I wouldn't be stealing. I'm not advocating.
Not right now. I don't think it's a. I mean, you've got an opportunity to keep adding to your lead. Why risk it?
Right. Okay. I'm with you. I just wanted to know what your feelings were. I'm with you.
3-0 to Phillips, and it's a called strike on the high outside corner.
What I'm doing is trying to feel you. You know, thinking that when you get that major league job, you bring me along as one of your coaches. That's all.
Tell you what, Phillips has many solo and double home runs. Also has a grand slam. Oh, and they pick off J.R. Davis over at first. Billy Isley's going to go have a word about it. J.R. Davis doesn't think it's the right call, but he will have to make the long walk back to the dugout.
Oh, that hurt. That hurt.
Well, that's just like if you send him towards second on a stolen base, and I guess he gets thrown out, but there's a lot less risk there.
Yeah.
Now that opportunity is completely taken away. 2 outs and a runner at third for Dakota Phillips. The 3-1. Lifted out towards left field. Chasing in is Biermann towards foul territory at the wall. Makes the catch as he leans over the wall. That is a fantastic grab from Lane Biermann out there in left field. Ends the first inning. Not the way the Otters wanted to see that end, but they add 2 runs to their first inning total. Already up a pair as we head to the top of the second. Great night for baseball here from Bosse Field. Second inning coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Brett Adcock and the Evansville Otters return to the field. You know, this is a great place you want to be in, have a 2-0 lead. More on that in a second. If you missed it in pregame, here's a look through the Seal Corp Frontier League standings. Evansville sitting pretty in that 2 spot. Right behind them, though, are these Joliet Slammers. This series means a lot. Despite the standings not meaning a whole ton right now in the season, hey, every one of these games against a division opponent is huge.
Well, I'll tell you, every game, whether it's the first game of the season or last game, is important. Because, you know, you don't want to get down to the last week and you've got to win all 5 games. Lose one and you're out of the playoffs.
Well, the Otters continue with West Divisional play all the way up to the All-Star break 3 weeks from today. Then they start off the second half of the season with 3 straight series against Eastern Conference teams. Those are the last 3 in the East they have to play, and then they're done with the East the rest of the year.
Oh, really?
Unless they play in the Frontier League Championship Series.
Oh, okay. Did you guys get those All-Star ballots yet?
We haven't got any ballots or anything yet. No.
Well, if Steve ever shows up, the deputy commissioner, I'll bring it to his attention. Because we've got too many candidates that warrant being on those ballots.
Adcock misses on back-to-back pitches. Down in the count 2-0. defense is playing pretty spread out right now as the pitch is sent back into the netting for strike one. Really good crowd on hand on a Senior Connection Wednesday. I don't know if that's July 4th week or if that's the post-game fireworks, but it's really nice to see this many folks out at the ballpark once again. Feels like we're saying that every single night.
Well, I'll tell you what, when my son-in-law dropped me off out there by the Bob Greasy statue, I had to fight my way through. I mean, the walkway on both sides was packed, and a lot of them were Little League baseball players.
Yeah, they're hosting a league here tonight. Part of the pregame festivities was all of the teams that are in attendance got to walk along the outfield around the edge to honor all the teams and let them have a time to walk on the big league field here. So I'm sure that's a cool moment for them as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wonder why all those kids were there, and you won't believe.
2-2 swung on and missed in the dirt, and it's the second German American Bank strikeout for Brett Adcock.
You won't believe 3 of the kids stopped and asked my wife for her autograph. And I was like, you want hers or mine? And they said, we want hers. It was embarrassing.
So stepping in now is the second baseman, Matt Birch, making his first appearance of this 3-game set. Adcock kicks and delivers on the first pitch here. Bit high for ball one. Walk you through the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard for the first time this evening. At the top of the 6th inning, the Washington Wild Things lead 7-3 over Florence. If Washington wins tonight, they've won the series, and it ends Florence's 5 straight series win streak. That's a really good Washington team. I think they're going to be a team we have to worry about all season long.
Well, Washington, since the inception of their being in the league, has always been a tough team.
Then in the bottom of the 3rd inning, the New York Boulders lead the Empire State Grays 2-1. As the 1-1 heads home, it's sent right back up the middle, almost grabbed. Gets past J.R. Davis at second as well, and it's through for a 1-out single to Matt Birch.
I thought Adcock had that. He turned his back to that play, and that's one of the things my good friend Bobby Bott said to me the other day is, the pitcher's got to learn to field, and not only throw the pitches, they've got to be able to field those balls too.
That's a tough play though for Brett Adcock. Right after he pitches that ball, and it's coming right back at him. He unfortunately wasn't in a position to make the play. I think if that's a right-handed pitcher, he's finishing on the right side of the mound, so maybe he's got a better chance. I thought it went off his glove. I thought he had it in the glove at one point.
Well, that's what I thought too. That's why I say, he backhanded. One of the first things in high school, I'm not talking Little League. There was no Little League when I was younger. And one of the first things you always learned in high school was the pitchers had to have a follow through. And they always had to be facing the batter with their hands out the field, that thing. So those are the things that, baseball is a teaching sport too.
The 1-0. Ooh,
Strike.
Big curveball falls into the zone.
Strike. A lot of people, I won't mention no names because somebody might recognize who I'm talking about. But there was a AAA coach, and there was a major league vacancy, and this person was being considered for the major league job, and he got turned down because of one thing. He said, "I don't teach. If you reach the majors, there's no such thing as teaching." Well, that's not a true statement because I can believe you could be in the majors for 10 years and you still learn. That cost him the major league job.
Adcock with a throw over to first, but back in plenty of time was Matt Birch.
Yeah. No matter what profession or sport or whatever you're in, you're always learning.
1-1 coming home, stays a bit high, counts at 2-1.
I don't know if you ever had a college professor say, there's not a day goes by you shouldn't learn something.
Defense is set up in their double play positions. The 3-1 headed home. Stays high, and it's a 5-pitch walk to Philip steering. And there's runners on first and second with just one out. Well, I say it every game, I feel like, but this is an opportunity for Fred Adcock to prove what he's made of.
Well, that's true.
A little bit of a jam for him. This is the areas that he's found himself in tough situations. His pitch count works up so high so quickly because of walks like that one and long at-bats. But in a lot of his games, he's still managed to go pretty deep in them. I actually got to talk with him a little bit during batting practice today about, I was like, man, seems like every at-bat in this league this year is going 7, 8, 9 pitches or whatever. It feels like they're just so long. And he said, well, one of the things I pride myself on is I have a good breaking pitch that gets a lot of guys to chase and miss. But this league has a bunch of guys who, instead of chasing and missing, decide to just lay it off. And that's why I throw walks, is because I'm used to the American Association where they're veteran hitters that chase and miss a lot.
Well, so he's saying he's throwing balls that aren't being called strikes. He's looking for the
ball bounces into the dirt.
Don't throw it.
Don't throw it.
You know, there's a time as a player, you got to analyze: do I have a chance of throwing the runner out, or has he already got the base stolen? So no sense in throwing it if he's got the base already.
Well, there's now runners on the corners with a 1-1 count and 1 out to Carson Maxwell, who's the designated hitter this evening. Maxwell last night was 0 for 4.
And that was Adcock's breaking pitch.
Runner at first is Philip steering.
Yeah,
he's got a healthy lead over there. The 1-1 stays just a hair high for ball 2.
Yeah, double play. Armstrong to JR to first base.
Defense is still playing it halfway in their double play positions. 2-1's the count to Carson Maxwell. Here comes the curveball yet again, and again it falls in for a called strike. 68 mile an hour on that pitch.
He's got pretty good control, that pitch. I will say that. He's got a slider that I haven't seen him much, but he does have a pretty good command of that curveball.
Well, and it almost looks like out of the hand. When he releases, it still rises a little before it falls. The 2-2. Slider is sent out towards right center field. McNamee chasing in, brings it in. Oh, and it falls out of his glove. He looked to make the next play. They'll throw to second for the sure thing out. Looked like he had his eyes up, ready to throw, and just lost concentration for a little second. It's credited as an error towards McNamee, his second of the year.
Well,
that's how Maxwell will reach. Steering is.
Would that be an error if you got the runner out at second base?
Probably an error in a fielder's choice, I would guess.
I don't know.
Regardless, there's a runner on first, and a run scores for Joliet. So the Otters are only up 1 now.
But I think Big Mac was anticipating, and I think that's the word. He was anticipating. He got himself in a throwing position, and he took his eyes off the ball because he was looking at the runner at the same time, and it popped out of the glove. It was in the glove, but it popped out.
Yeah, that's a tough play for him. Luckily, the Otters had themselves an extra run of insurance, so they still lead.
Well, I'll tell you what, that would have been interesting if that runner tried to score. Where McAveen got that fly ball, I'm going to say it was maybe 175 feet, maybe 180.
It was very shallow.
Yes, that could have been an easy throw for Big Mac.
2-0, zoomed out towards mid-shallow left center field. Gordon parks underneath it, brings it in for out number 3. Not before Joliet is able to score a run on the air by McNamee in right field. Otters still lead by a run as we head to the bottom half of the second inning. McNamee, Felix, and Armstrong, 2 up for the Otters. we are ready to go with the bottom half of the second inning. Elijah McNamee, Justin Felix, and Andy Armstrong are the ones due up for Evansville. Elijah McNamee looking to extend his on-base streak to 32 games. McNamee had a solid double yesterday to right center field. He's kind of addicted to that right center field gap.
Right, he hits a lot because if you notice, not that he's got a late swing, but he makes contact on the outside corner of the plate, which means the bat is going to be in an angle that's got to go in that direction.
Well, and it's obviously hard to see from up here and there on the angle that you're given there at home, but he's got a couple of layers of tape on the knob of his bat to make him choke up to the same place every single time so he can get the bat around just a little bit quicker. McNamee will dig in for his first opportunity in this game.
You know, during my period of activity, there was no such thing as batting gloves. What we had was...
First pitch ripped to the left side. What a play in the hot corner from McGarry.
That's a double taken away. Boy, oh boy. And
what a tough week for McNamee. Had a couple of home runs stolen from him in Lake Erie. Now a really easy double stolen away from him. Number 5, Justin Felix. That's got to be frustrating.
I would say so. I would go back in the dugout and I'd say, anybody know where his car's parked?
The catcher, Justin Felix, at the plate now. Felix managed himself a couple of home runs on the road trip. Got a strong double in last night's game. Seems to be really seeing the ball the best he's seen it all year long, and that's very uplifting for Felix. Starts off with ball one, just underneath the knees.
You know, I was going to finish where I was saying. In my day, we didn't have batting gloves. What we had was black electrician's tape. And that would be sticky, and that would be our reason of holding on to the bat.
1-1 is the count as Felix watched it fall into the zone. It's one of the things Felix does so well is he watches the ball all the way in. You can follow his eyes all the way to the catcher's glove every time.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do.
Pitch catches the outside edge for strike 2, and Felix is looking at a 1-2 count. This is where he likes to start to work himself back in counts. Can quickly become a 3-2 count out of nowhere against him. 1-2 works high and inside. The count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Does he pay you extra? It seems like you're always praising him. Was he buying you lunch when you're on the road?
No, I've just really liked watching him in batting practice because it seems like every day he's trying to find one little thing to improve his hitting. And we're starting to, one day at a time, see it start to work. As he chases a pitch to the low outside corner for a swinging strike 3. Second strikeout of the game for Trevor Sharpie. It'll bring up the shortstop, Andy Armstrong, who appeared in last night's game as a defensive substitution, but that was the extent of his appearance.
Now look where the third baseman is. And we've talked about his ability to put the bunt down.
He shows bunts on the first pitch, pulls it away, but it's a called strike 1 anyway. Armstrong has hits in 5 of his last 6 starts.
And you see where the third baseman came in all the way to the grass now. So
and now he backs right back up.
Now he's going back.
The 0-1, Armstrong was looking to swing. Pitch stayed low. The count evens up.
You know, that was a thing years ago batters used to do. They'd fake the bunt and then bring the bat back and slap it because the third baseman would come in to field the bunt.
1-1. Lifted foul to the right side, out of play for strike 2. Armstrong trying to extend the inning and give the Edward Jones leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, another chance. Sharpie had himself ready on the mound and then steps off. Armstrong ready for the 1-2. Defensive hitting there as he chops it foul to the left side.
On that last road trip, one of the, I don't remember, it was like Charles, like Erie or Florence, but one of our pitchers had a balk called, and I never knew what it was because the broadcaster never, well, of course, he may not know what it was either.
1-2, chopping towards the left side. McGarry will fire over to first in time, and it's a quick 3-up, 3-down inning for the Otters in the second after 2 full. Evansville leads this one 2-1 after Joliet was able to snag a run in the top half of the second. Third inning coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Brett Adcock and the Otters back out on the field, ready to continue this one. You know, you live and you die by the breaking pitches, and a tough one that got away from Justin Felix allowed a runner to move to third, and then the Slammers were able to score on the error out there in right field. It's a tough way for the Otters to give up a run, but at least they are still in the lead in this one.
Yes, temporarily. Game's not over.
You play 9 for a reason.
That's right.
Well, leading off the half inning for the Slammers is their 9-hole hitter, catcher J.P. Fullerton. Fullerton this season batting 167. Not a huge sample size for him, as he watches the first pitch go across for a called strike 1.
Well, he doesn't have too many RBIs, I'll say that.
Fullerton has that 167 average, but he's only played in 14 games, significantly less than a lot of the guys on this team. Count evens up with a pitch low. Adcock is now the only left-handed pitcher in the entire pitching staff for the Otters.
Yeah, didn't we have one, and whatever happened to the other guy?
Brady Tedesco was the one out of the bullpen, was released earlier this week in order to sign Augie Gallardo.
Oh, so we let a pitcher go, huh?
2-1 the counts, as Adcock kicks and delivers. Rolls over the top of that ball and sends it in, but it stays just a hair high. 3-1 the count.
You know, we was talking to your father earlier before the game, a Kansas City Royals fan, and something just came to me about what you just said about left-handers.
It's another 5-pitch walk issued out by Brett Adcock, and it's the leadoff man on for the Slammers.
And I signed a left-hand pitcher out of Pennsylvania. I think it was Cannonsburg or something like that. And we sent him down to Kingsport in the Appy League. Owen Friend was the manager, and during our organizational meeting after the season was over, he said, "Bill, you signed the major leaguer." I said, "Really?" He said, "Oh yeah, he's got a heck of a curveball." Oh boy, I was happy to be. I signed the major leaguer.
Leadoff man Kyle Jacobson steps back at the plate. He flew out to right field his first time up. Starts off with ball 1 just a bit inside. Nice curveball there from Adcock.
So anyway, come spring training, they called me and they said, Bill, we released your pitcher. I said, why? Well, he didn't have a fastball. I said, yeah, but he had one of the best curveballs. Yeah, but he didn't have a fastball. And what are left-handers known for? Curveballs.
1-1 count. Adcock attacks the inside edge of the plate, and fouling it off his foot is Kyle Jacobson, and he takes a little jog to walk that one off.
Yeah. That's one thing about minor league baseball, and I'm quite sure a lot of these players out here on the Otters and the Crushers could say the same thing. They played affiliated baseball, and they got released, and you wonder why. And it'd be just something like that. You didn't have a fastball, or you didn't hit enough home runs.
And I tell you what, I had a good talk with our director of communications, Preston Lindenbach, during lunch today. It's just so competitive in professional baseball anymore.
It is.
I mean, you have one rough game, and there's a kid standing in line ready to take your place, it feels like.
Yep.
It is just so competitive.
Yep. And like I say, you get released for some crazy reason.
1-2 is the count towards Kyle Jacobson. Big pitch for Adcock. Works low inside, gets behind Felix, but he's able to group it in before Fullerton can run over there at first. He didn't really seem interested at all to try to snag second.
Yeah. Would you believe that back in the early 1900s, the Los Angeles, well, they were Brooklyn Dodgers then. The St. Louis Cardinals, the Brooklyn Dodgers, both had teams, farm teams, like 20 plus farm clubs. Everybody had 2 AA and 2 AAAs.
Ball launched out towards right center field. Gordon retreating back towards the warning track, parked under it, 4 out, number 1. Long fly out there from Jacobson.
Right.
His second one to right field today.
Right. Like the Yankees had Kansas City and Newark, New Jersey, were their AAA teams. And the Brooklyn Dodgers had St. Paul and Los Angeles as their AAA clubs in the Pacific Coast.
Otters now sit at double play depth as Tyler DePreta Johnson heads to the plate. He struck out his first time up. Adcock comes back with the curveball and gets a called strike on the inside edge. He hits almost that exact same spot every time with the curveball, and it feels like half the time it's a called strike, half the time it's a ball.
Yeah, but he's got a good break to it.
Absolutely.
Good, yeah.
0-1, sent out towards left center field. Long run for Gordon. Oh my, he brought it in. Diving grab for the center fielder, Gordon. Great work from Baez to get back there just in case the play didn't go according to plan. But there was no doubt for Miles Gordon.
Now that is a play that should be on ESPN tonight. Highlights of the minor league baseball.
I'll tell you what, I'll make sure it gets sent into the Frontier League top 10 plays of the week.
Well, it should be. I mean, that was a spectacular play by the center fielder. It just shows. I know you've raved about his defense all season, and I'll agree with you. I think he's got great range out there.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of center fielders that drops for a base hit.
Yeah.
Scott Holzwasser steps in now, the second baseman. Sorry, he played second base last night, the right fielder this evening. Holzwasser flew out to left his first time up. Looking at a 1-1 count now. He's got a runner on first and 2 outs. The 1-1. Swinging and missing is Holzwasser. That pitch just kind of broke away from him.
Well, let's go back to that play in center field. Just one more comment. A lot of center fielders would have let it drop for a base hit so that they didn't get the error.
The 1-2, just a bit outside, evens up the count. And I think so much more and more in this age of baseball, they're not counting that as much of an error when you're diving after some of those pitches. They're giving an opportunity to say, you know, that's a base hit because that's not a play you should be making.
Well, that's true, but it all depends on the score.
Yeah, you never know. You really don't.
Pass ball or wild pitch.
Yeah.
Error, base hit. That's up to the official score. But if the ball gets by the outfielder and the guy gets a triple, then he decides, well, maybe,
Well, Brett Adcock in the bright red glove retake the mound. Full count to Scott Holzwasser. 2 outs, runner on first. Otters lead by 1 run here in the top of the third. The 3-2 swung on and missed. And it is the third German-American bank strikeout of the game for Brett Adcock. He will applaud his center fielder, Gordon, and we will head to the bottom half of the third inning. Otters lead by a run. We head to the bottom half of the third inning, and the Otters are still leading this game with a 2-1 advantage. A lot of that has to be thanked by the defensive plays we've seen once again from the Otters. And this time it was Miles Gordon tracking a ball down in center field, extending, making a great play.
Now, just imagine if that got by him, that runner might have gotten a triple, all depending on the speed.
And we'll have one more look at it here on the Play It Again Sports replay. A ball that should be dropped down for a base hit almost every other time. Baez had made a really good run at it, and he was running towards the back wall in order to back up the play in case it did get past Gordon. But because it doesn't, Otters were able to help get out of it, and Miles Gordon himself will lead off this third inning. Edward Jones, leadoff hitter of the game, Miles Gordon, is 1 for 1 with a single back in the first. Back in the first. Gordon came around to score on the RBI from Jeffrey Baez. And it's the 1-2-3 hitters up in the inning. Long wait up there on the bump. Here comes the first pitch to Gordon. Graces the high outside edge for a called strike 1. Defense is playing as if they expect him to pull a bit to the right side, and now the third baseman, McGarry, is starting to pull way in. The 0-1 to Gordon stays low, and count evens up at a ball and a strike for him. Huge gap in left center field, place we've seen Miles Gordon attack before. The 1-1. Foul tipped into the glove of Fullerton, and he's down in the count 1-2.
Yeah, we were just fortunate enough to have one of our former Evansville Otters stop by to say hello. Nathan Stone, one of our great pitchers of 20026 base hit right there.
Ball lifted out towards right center field.
Ooh.
Chasing in is the center fielder, Jacobson.
Had hung up there too long.
Just a bit too long. With the wind blowing in from out there, it must have done just enough. Gordon will sit down on the flyout. It brings up the hard-hitting designated hitter, Zach Biermann. Already has himself a single in this game. His was on the very first pitch he saw, right back up the middle. First offering to him, stays high outside, ball 1.
Yeah, I was telling you about Nate Stone. He was one of our pitchers in 2006, the championship year, and he was one of our pitching coaches in 2007. So Nate has a long history with the Otters.
1-0 drops low for ball 2. Biermann finds himself well held. Tell you, that was one thing that Zach did really well on the road trip. That was pick up a lot of walks. In fact, he had 2 separate 2-walk games and a 3-walk game during those 6 games. 2-0, low and inside, and he's way ahead in the count.
Well, a walk is always just as good as a hit.
Well, you wonder if pitchers are trying to pitch around him a little bit, trying to not give him anything that's nice in the zone, and because of it, they end up walking him. He lifts a pitch out towards left field. Barrymore will track it down in foul territory and bring it in for out number 2. That will bring up the left fielder, Jeffrey Baez. He had an RBI single his first time up on a hard hit ball to the left side on the infield. Just got over the glove of the third baseman, Matt McGarry. Taking his time up on the bump is Trevor Sharpie. First offering stays just a hair inside for ball 1. Otters lead 2-1 here in the bottom of the 3rd inning on a couple of RBI singles in the first. 1-0 works way outside. The New York Boulders now lead Empire State 5-1 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Schaumburg with a 5-0 lead at Lake Erie in the top of the 5th. New Jersey 5-2 lead over Ottawa. That is just continuing what has been a miserable week for Ottawa. Searching for some answers there, the Titans are. 2-0 to Baez. Gets a bit underneath it. Fouls it straight back. It's going to get out of play, however. As we continue through the Fox Sports WIFX Frontier League scoreboard, Tri-City at Trois-Rivières. That game is postponed. They will play a doubleheader tomorrow to make that game up. Top of the 5th, Quebec has a 1-1 tie at Sussex County with the Miners there. And then Windy City has a 2-0 lead against Gateway in the 2nd inning. Another pitch works inside. Jeffrey Baez is ahead in the count 3-1. Sitting here in the 3rd inning, Sharpie has pitched over 40 pitches thus far. And he's just over half on all of his strikes. The 3-1 lifted high towards midway in left field. Barrymore camps underneath it. And that is out number 3. Otters don't cause any troubles in the 3rd inning. And after 3 full, it's Evansville 2, Joliet 1 here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. 4th inning coming at you next. I want to take this time to remind you that Frontier League Baseball on Flow Sports is presented by Budweiser, the king of beers. And we are moving quickly through this one into the top of the 4th inning. And, both sides have had one inning that they've put a little run together. Other than that, both pitchers have looked good.
Well, take that first inning away when we had 4 back-to-back hits, and they'd be leading 1-0. So anyway, so far in this series, last night and tonight, it seems to be a pitcher's duel.
I tell you what, this especially the West Division in the Frontier League, is littered with really good starting pitching. Adcock has himself ready on the mound. He'll face Matt McCary to start off this half inning. It's a swinging strike one to get him started. McCary struck out his first time up in the game, but McCary's impact in this game already was the incredible diving play against Elijah McNamee there at third base that robbed a double.
I would say that might have been a possible run. It would have been a double for Mac, but who knows what would have happened after that. Would he have scored or not? Who knows?
Well, Matt McCary way out in front of his next pitch there. Now he's down in the count 0-2. Good work from Adcock to change up the pitch speeds a little bit. Felix will give him his sign as the 0-2 comes home. It's bounced foul right back into the netting. Together this year, Adcock and Felix have worked for 11 full innings, and together they've allowed 9 runs on 19 hits, striking out 10 as a battery. They've got a battery ERA of 9.36. The 0-2, swinging strike 3. It was tipped into the glove of Felix. It won't matter. It's the 4th German-American Bank strikeout of the game for Brett Adcock.
Well, here comes, when you look up at the scoreboard, there's only one hit for the Crushers, and this is the guy that got it.
And not only did he get the hit, he came around to score.
Yep.
So he will prep himself at the plate. Adcock nods at the sign and sends it home. Big curveball, stayed a bit high.
Well, there's only 2 batters from the Crushers that have been on base. One will walk, and this guy's hit.
1-0 the count to Matt Birch, the second baseman this evening. Pitch on the way, and that one's just dribbled foul. This is one of the first times the Otters have seen a team change up their lineup dramatically to face a left-hander. I mean, they saw that Adcock was on the mound and just loaded their lineup with right-handed hitters because they know Adcock struggled against them.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's why you have scouts in advance to pick things like that up.
So part of the strategy of baseball, I guess.
That is.
1-1's the count. Adcock sends it home, and it's a called strike 2.
Yeah. No, that's like I say in the major leagues. That's why you send advanced scouts ahead so that you pick up all the mistakes or whatever it may be, and that depends on whether the players listen to you.
1-2 bounces in for ball 2, and the couple of games that Adcock has struggled in, those are the games that his pitch velocity is very kind of scrunched up. Tonight we've seen his curveball get all the way down to 68, and his fastball get all the way up to like 88, 89. When he's got that range, it makes him that much more versatile.
Yeah. Well, too many pitchers try to throw that 90 plus, and they're wild. They're interested in velocity, but not in control.
The 2-2. Bounce right back up the middle. Davis will play it on a few hops to first in time. Throw off to the side, but Sinsley's able to bring it in for the second out of the inning. 4-3 officially on the scorecard. And that'll bring up the first baseman, Philip Steering, who walked his first time up.
As we keep saying, pitcher's job is to throw strikes. Batter's jobs are to bring in runs. And broadcasters' jobs is to tell the truth. Factual news.
Philip Steering watches the curveball go by for a called strike 1. When he executes that one really well, the hitters are just locking up.
Mesmerized.
Well, and at first looks like it's going to stay too high. Then all of a sudden it looks like it's going to drop out of the zone. And before you know it, it's right in the glove of Felix, dead center. Counts 0-2 to Philip Steering. Adcock's looking for his 5th German-American K of the day. Has himself readied, and he'll step off for a second.
Well, the batter called timeout.
You can always tell which one Adcock is. The bright red glove up there on the mounds. The 0-2 on the way. Dribbled towards the left side. Long run for Phillips. He's going to let it roll foul. And Steering will make the walk all the way back to the box.
Well, those umbrellas are down in the patio section, but the sun is still bright out there.
Yeah, right now just a little stretch between right field and center field that has the sun still on it. Folks up there on the Corona patio deck have just a little sun invading on their day. I'm sure that the unlimited soft drinks, water, and hot dogs probably help things out there.
Well, years ago, I used to have my church group come all the time. And part of the food was fried chicken. And I tell you what, I used to leave the press box here to go down and be with my friends and grab a couple of those pieces of chicken and come back up here. Now, you want to say that was absconding with the
1-2 is zoomed to the left side. Luckily for the Otters, it's foul, though.
Yeah. So I guess I was right. I absconded with the food and came up here into free land.
1-2 count for Brett Adcock here, trying to end this fourth, or at least top half of the fourth inning.
Throw that curveball.
The 1-2 works outside, but you see there Steering really leaned over for that.
You know, that looked like he turned that over for a Scroogey.
Tell you what, I wish we had a way to watch his hand zoomed in, because it looks like he rolls over the top of a lot of these balls. Yeah. The 2-2. Oh, that pitch worked in and then started to work its way away from Steering, just able to foul tip it. That's defensive hitting for you.
Well, when Adcock threw him those first two curveballs, he just stood there and looked at them. They were beautiful curveballs. If he'd come back with one of those again, I bet he just stares at it and strike three.
The 2-2 to Steering.
Strike three.
And it just misses on the inside edge. Felix gives a nod to his pitcher and says, hey, it's a good throw. Just ended up a bit too far to the inside.
And Felix should turn around and, well, not turn around, but just utter to the umpire, I know where your car is parked. That's called intimidation.
Payoff pitch from Adcock. Zoomed out towards left field. Baez back towards the wall. A jumping grab, and it goes over his glove. He finally hauls it in, but it's a stand-up double for Phillips Steering on a pitch that just kept carrying and carrying over the head of Jeffrey Baez.
Yep.
Tell you what, that is a hard-earned base hit from Steering. He was down multiple times in the count, found his way to slowly work himself back into it, just about was fooled on one of the curveballs, and earns himself a base hit.
You're right.
It went 331 feet, and in a lot of ballparks here in this league, that might get you a home run.
Yeah.
But not here in the hallowed halls of Bossy Field.
Yeah. I was going to say the hollow halls of yesteryear.
Carson Maxwell, the designated hitter, steps up. He scored the Joliet first run on a error that happened in right field. Starts off this count with a swinging strike one.
It looked like it was 78, 76. That was off speed. You know, he's been very effective with that 70-mile-an-hour pitch.
Well, if you can control it and be the one who gets to dictate where it goes, why not?
Yep.
0-1 the count to Carson Maxwell. Pitch on the way. Oh, that must have just fallen out of the zone.
I think his breaking pitch is more effective than his fastball.
Well, and the thing that, like, his fastball is very straight. His fastball doesn't have any sort of break alongside it,
Right.
but his curveball is incredible amounts of break.
Right. You know, that's one thing those 95-mile-an-hour pitchers don't realize either. Most of those pitchers are straight, no movement whatsoever. They come in just like an Indian arrow, straight as can be.
2-1 is the count for Carson Maxwell. Adcock taking a long time before this pitch. A look out towards second. Here comes the 2-1, and it's tipped foul into the glove of Felix.
Looked a little high, didn't it?
Yeah, managed to get Maxwell to chase up there. Possible Maxwell thought it was going to fall towards the zone on the curveball.
Yeah, it's true. Good call.
Could just be a little bit of mind play there by Adcock.
Well, here's where the money counts.
Absolutely. This is where you prove where those 7 years of experience you have in the minors counts. Swinging strike three, it sure does. Adcock will have his strut off the mound. Finds a strikeout there, and we head to the bottom half of the fourth inning. Otters still lead by a run here from beautiful Bossy Field in Evansville. It's a 2-1 lead in favor of the Otters. We've got to see a couple of pitchers give up a base hitter here or there, but then really effectively work themselves out of it.
Yeah, both pitchers have worked themselves out of jams, and let's hope that this young man out there now doesn't.
This is a dangerous part of the lineup to go up against. Sinsley, Davis, and Phillips due up for the Otters.
Yeah.
First pitch just graces the outside edge for a called strike one against Steven Sinsley. The off-speed pitch there. Wide open stance from Sinsley that immediately closes up when he swings. And he fouls one back into the netting. He's down 0-2 in the count. Like I mentioned, Davis and Phillips following Sinsley here in the fourth inning. The 0-2, high and outside ball one.
Yeah, that's pretty. And you got Big Mac to follow them.
Yeah, if you can get one of them on, give Elijah McNamee an opportunity. You got to think that McNamee's got a chip on his shoulder too after getting one stolen from him. Hard hit ball right back up the middle by Sinsley, and instead of charging in, the center fielder lets it drop in front of him. And I'll tell you what, that I want to clarify before I go any further. I say the center fielder doesn't decide to run in on that. That's a pitch that looked like it was going to carry all the way to him and then just died right before it got to him.
Well,
so I don't want to make it sound like he's not giving effort out there.
Right. I was blocked out by that girder, and I'm going to have somebody cut it down before the year's over. And I thought it was going to be caught on the fly, to be honest.
Well, it looked like it was going to.
Right.
Davis pops up a bunt to the right side, and he's out via a bunt pop out. Not exactly the way J.R. Davis envisioned that opportunity going.
Well, you know, I've said it year after year after year, and I repeat it again this year. A sacrifice bunt means you could stay at home plate and be thrown out at first base, but get that ball down in fair territory to move the runner over. You trying to get on and move the runner at the same time doesn't work. And, you know, that's a false premise on the batter's part to think that he has to get on base.
First option is ball one for Dakota Phillips. He's got Sinsley over there at first. The 1-0. Push to the right side, past the diving first baseman steering. Sinsley rounding second, and there will be runners on the corners after another base hit here in the inning for the Otters.
Now let's go back one batter. He successfully moves that runner to second. We just got another run.
But he successfully moves that runner to second. The first baseman's perfectly in a place to make that play. The only reason that first baseman's not there is because he was holding the runner at first, I think.
You're stealing my thunder.
Sorry.
Matthew, you know, let me get my 2 cents in. But you do have a good point.
And I tell you what, that first baseman did not miss that ball by much, diving to his right side. Big hit Mac, trying to avenge his last at-bat, robbed of a double down the left field line. Sinsley's at third, Phillips is at first. McNamee at the plate. Pushes one to the left side, off the bag, and that one is good.
Yeah,
Not going to rob that one. He's got to have to make a big turn back to first as he thought that Phillips was going to go on. He does not, but it doesn't matter. It's an RBI single for the Otters.
Yeah, normally that's a double. But as you said, Phillips didn't take the chance to go to third, which was the right move.
Absolutely it was, yeah.
I thought if he did, he would have been thrown out at third base.
Well, he said, well, you know, McGarry, if you're going to rob me, if I hit it right at you, I'll put it right on the bag. And it bounced off the third base bag and dragged down the left field line. Otters score a run and now lead 3-1 as the catcher Justin Felix heads to the plate with one out and runners on first and second. Otters now have 7 hits in the game. We're just in the 4th inning. First pitch to Felix. Falls to the low inside corner for a called strike one.
Yeah, I thought that was a bad call, but
that's a good take from him.
Yeah.
0-1 the count for Justin Felix. Struck out his first time up. The 0-1. Lifts it high and foul to the right side. Will get out of play, however.
Well, we've got Phillips on second base, and he could take a big lead because neither the second baseman or the shortstop are paying much attention to him. And if they were, I mean, you look at where they are to the bag, they're at least good 30, 35 feet away. So
you get that extra lead, and he can score.
That's what I'm trying to lead to, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. 0-2 for Justin Felix. Lets it bounce in for ball one. Yeah. Runners stay put.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to is Phillips get a good lead. Anything that bleeds through the infield, he could score.
But imagine anything in front of the outfielders at this point, he would likely be held at third.
Yeah, it all depends. I got to tell you, you call a good game. You got insight.
1-2 is the count to the catcher, Justin Felix. He's got runners on first and second with just one out. Pitch on the way. It bounces in on the outside half of the plate. Count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And the catcher made a pretty good pickup of that bad pitch. Now, that would have been a wild pitch. If that had gotten by that catcher, Someone's liable to say pass ball, and it wouldn't have been. It would have been a wild pitch.
2 balls, 2 strikes to the catcher, Justin Felix, who's very good at doing this exact thing, falling behind an account and then working his way back into it, making the pitcher work hard. A 2-2. Lifted out towards right field. Chasing back towards that corner is Holzwasser, but it's going to end up 10 or 15 feet foul. The way that Holzwasser took off after that, it made it seem like it was going to stay fair.
That's what I thought.
But Felix keeps himself alive at the plate. Count stays even at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Just 1 out with runners on first and second here in the bottom half of the fourth. Otters have already scored 1 and lead 3-1. The 2-2 to Felix. Works low and inside, and his count heads to full. Tell you what, that's almost where we saw that called strike earlier in the count.
Right. Now here we got a 3-2 count. Runners on first and second, but there's only 1 out. So they should not, I shouldn't say they should not be running. Let's see what they do.
They might take a couple extra steps, but.
Right.
3-2 the count is for Justin Felix. He lifts another one high and foul to the right side. Will get out of play. Ends up bouncing on the top of the Bossy Field seating area, and the kid's going to get a souvenir afterwards. Full count for Justin Felix, trying to earn himself at this point, hard-earned base. He's got runners on first and second in front of him, just 1 out, trying to extend this 4th inning for the Otters. Payoff pitch. Swinging strike 3, and a tough way for that at-bat to end for Justin Felix. His 2nd strikeout of the day, the 3rd of the day for Trevor Sharpie. That'll bring up the shortstop, Andy Armstrong, who grounded out back in the 2nd inning.
Yeah, if Andy was to get a hit, that might help his cause of being in there in the lineup every day.
Armstrong had a couple of really solid base hits on the road trip last week. First pitch to him, high and inside. They throw out to second. Phillips is back in time. The catcher, J.P. Fullerton, not too happy with how far Phillips was trailing off second. But the count's at 1-0 after the high inside pitch. Sharpie sends it home for a called strike on the low inside corner.
I'm going to say, in my opinion, you can agree or disagree, but this umpire seems to call a low pitch quite frequently a strike.
Well, and especially the inside edge.
Yeah.
1-1 is the count to Andy Armstrong. Swings and fouls a pitch off towards the dugout of Joliet to the left side. And his count falls to 1-2.
You know, I never like to see a batter stick the rear end out and lean to swing at the pitch. That means you're pulling your body away from the plate.
Post-game fireworks are scheduled for tonight. Otters trying to add some fireworks to the play. Already lead by a couple. The 1-2 sent bouncing towards the shortstop, Depreta Johnson. He'll go to second for the one they need, and that ends the inning. Only run scores for Evansville in the inning, but because of it, they add some insurance and they lead 3-1 as we head to the 5th inning here from Bossy Field. And we are ready for the top of the fifth inning here for the Slammers to head back to the plate. Lane Barrymore, J.P. Fullerton, and Kyle Jacobson due up. But more importantly for the Otters, Brett Adcock returns to the mound. He's looked really solid. He's at a good place with his pitch count. He's at a good place with his walk and strikeout numbers. Got to be happy with what we've seen out of him so far today.
Well, I would be satisfied if I was he. And as far as Andy should be concerned, yeah, he's pitching. We're into the fifth inning. We're ahead, and if we maintain the style of play that we've started, we could be adding another W to the.
Well, and more importantly, the Otters have found a way to give Brett Adcock some run support. That's something he's struggled with this year. He's now making his fifth start, and in his 4 combined first ones, he only had 17 runs of support from the Otters.
Wow.
And they were very few and far between in a couple of the games.
Well, that's a shame. And there's a lot of pitchers that have been in that category, do a great job, but no support.
Well, in one of his games, the Otters won 16-7, so that skews that number incredibly.
Yeah.
He had 2 games where the Otters had a combined 2 runs in his time up there on the mound. And you got to help your pitcher out, I guess, a little bit there. Starts off with a couple of balls towards Lane Barrymore. And a hefty swing brings Adcock 1 pitch closer. Might be exactly what the Otters need to kind of have Brett Adcock get himself in cruise control and start to put in some really significant starts. Another swinging strike. He's looked so in control of his off-speed and breaking pitches.
We're talking about Adcock here, and I'm looking up back in 2006, there was a pitcher named Haggerty. He was from Syracuse, Seton Hall grad.
2-2 on the elbows, and it's a called strike 3. And Lane Barrymore cannot believe it. It's the sixth the German-American Bank strikeout of the game for Brett Adcock, and his first called strike 3.
But that Haggerty was in the same category as Adcock. We get out there, do a great job, leave maybe in the 5th or 6th inning with a 1-0 or 2-1 lead, and end up he wouldn't get the win or the loss because the Otters would lose the game, and his brilliant pitching went down the drain for nothing.
First pitch for Fullerton is fouled off his foot. I would say of the so far for the Otters, of their 16 losses, I would say at least half of them have come just because they weren't able to get run support behind good starting pitching.
Right.
And that's been the tough piece, is making sure you get everything working at the right time.
Yeah, that's what I was leading to. Like Haggerty, yeah. I think Haggerty led the team in strikeouts. Well, again, that must have been, it shows he must have been doing something right.
Yeah.
That's just like the other night when our pitcher went 13 strikeouts and didn't get no credit at all.
A swinging strike 2 has Adcock ahead. I'm actually pretty sure that down on the other side of the press box tonight, we've got both Justin Watland and Parker Brahms both putting in double-digit strikeout numbers earlier this week, and now joining us in the press box. The 1-2 from Brett Adcock.
Strike 3.
Oh, just misses on the outside edge. Could have been the 7th one.
Yes.
Every right to be a little bit frustrated there.
I think the batter got frozen, and I think the umpire did too. Now that was hanging. That was the curveball, but it hung because he let it go too high.
The count is now full.
Right.
3-2 count with 1 out and nobody on in the top of the 5th inning. Otters lead 3-1.
I'm going to say he should throw the curveball. He's got better control of his curve than his fastball.
The 3-2 lifted high and foul to the left side. It will get out of play, however.
Red foul ball brought to you by Heads Construction Shoes.
We'll start to look through the Fox Sports WYFX Frontier League scoreboard once again. Washington up 10-6 against Florence in the bottom of the 8th inning. Florence will have to put together a strong 9th Let's come back in that one. New York leading Empire State 5-1 in the bottom of the 6th. 3-2 stays high for ball 4, and it's a one-out walk to J.P. Fullerton, his second walk of the day. And that'll take us back to the top of the lineup where the center fielder Kyle Jacobson will head to the plate. Both of Jacobson's hits thus far are strong contact to deep right field, but he's got grabbed once by McNamee and once by Gordon and hasn't been able to actually record a hit. First offering headed his way, high for ball 1.
I played with a third baseman. His name was, what we call him, Foggy Rittman, because you just said he hit the ball well, but they weren't base hits. Well, in his belief, they were base hits.
1-0 to Jacobson. Hefty swing, and he was way out in front of it.
You know, every ground ball that was hit to Foggy Rittman when he was playing third, he was a good third baseman. But everything he would throw it to first base. I mean, the bases were loaded, no outs. No matter what the situation was, he went to first base automatically. So I had to yell, second or whatever.
The 1-1 breaks low and outside, and Jacobson goes chasing after it.
Yeah.
But it's another strikeout opportunity for Adcock.
But Foggy Rittman, he was from Kentucky. Pretty good fielder. He was really like an all-American or all-Kentuckian basketball player.
The 1-2 stays just at the the letters for ball 2.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see him throw this pitch as if it was a 3-2 opportunity.
Down the middle. Double play.
2-2, and it's just about grounded. And he keeps the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner at first is J.P. Fullerton. Much like his last opportunity on base, not really interested in getting a major lead. In fact, Adcock just kind of glanced his way and he took a step back towards first quickly.
Well, his run don't mean much on a 3-1 count. I mean,
the 2-2. Zoom to the left side. Long run for Armstrong. Picks it up. The throw to first. Oh, my.
He did it. He did it. My God, what a play. Gee. Now, doesn't that mean he should play shortstop every game?
Absolutely no words for a play like that.
Oh, my God, that was a base hit.
Tracked down that ball, I don't know, 10, 12, 13 feet away from him. Made a rock-solid throw. Sinsley helped him out with a good dig at first.
Oh, yeah.
They combined for another outstanding defensive play from the Otters.
I tell you what, that man is a human vacuum cleaner out there.
Tyler DePrita Johnson now at the plate. 0 for 2 as well. And I tell you what, Brett Adcock might be buying his defense dinner.
Hey, yeah. Well, you remember there was a play a couple of weeks back where Armstrong went over and behind third base, leaped in the air, and still threw the runner out. And again, another outstanding play.
0-1 to DePrita Johnson. That's lifted foul right back over the top of the press box area. And once again, Adcock has himself in a 2-strike situation.
Right. Yeah.
He has flipped the switch in this game.
Yes, he's been ahead of most of the batters all day long. And what has he got? 98 pitches so far?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. We're in the what? The 4th inning or 5th inning?
Just misses on the outside edge for ball 1. And of those 99 pitches, 60 of them have been strikes. So he's been very efficient there.
Oh, yes. I'll agree with that.
And I would bet that 60 of them have been that curveball, too.
Yes.
The 1-2. Zoom to left field, but it stays just a hair foul. Goes off the fence over there. Someone's got himself a souvenir. Well, the big thing for Joliet tonight, 0-7 with runners on base. That's been the big deal.
Yeah.
Even when they've been given opportunities with men on base, they haven't been able to do anything with them. Quick meeting between catcher Felix and the pitcher Adcock just going over signs. That's why you see the umpire sticking his ear in there as well. He makes the sign of no, so it's not counted as a mound visit.
Well, you know, if I was Felix, I would have turned around to the umpire and say, this is a private conversation. Anyway.
It's nice that they're able to have those conversations about their signs and not get called mound or counted as mound visits.
Yeah. Well, again, you know, baseball, traditional baseball, people change tradition. Why? I mean, you know, I used to go out there and talk to the pitcher all the time. And like I say, now you're only allowed so many times.
Oh, and it's all part of that initiative that people have to try to speed up the game of baseball.
Yeah, I know it. And
I'm right there with you. Not a huge fan of it.
Well, I was having dinner in 1987.
2-2 is lifted foul to the right side. Sinsley's going to go running after it, but he will run out of room.
I was Dick Hager and I, the other Major League scout. We were having dinner during the World Series in Detroit, 1987, and we were talking to CBS Radio CEO, and we were complaining to him about the time element, and he said, "Well, it all depends upon the commercials. They want it 1 minute, then they want 2 minutes, then they want 3 minutes. Well, okay, run your commercials."
2-2 zoomed out towards Baez and left. He won't have to move hardly an inch. And that's all she wrote in the top of the fifth. Otters still lead by a pair of runs after another strong inning from Brett Adcock.
Right.
And we head to the bottom half of the fifth inning. One more look over here at Andy Armstrong, making one of the best plays you're going to see in some time in this league. Steven Sinsley helps make it a great play. And tell you what, this Otters defense is once again proving why they are a defense that any guy, any given night, can be the one that makes the big play.
Yeah, but that's a major league play. I mean, you don't see that very often. That's major league. I know you're a Kansas City fan. When Paytack played shortstop with the Kansas City Royals, Big John Mayberry at first did the same thing, saved a lot of errors from Paytack. Anyway, I'm an Armstrong fan. I'll let you know that right now.
Well, the Otters are riding the start of Brett Adcock still. He's been good. He's worked themselves out of jams. Another occurrence of an Otter pitcher finding ways to keep himself in a ballgame.
Yes, you're right. And he may have thrown 100 pitches, but he's still throwing strikes. I don't care if he throws 130 pitches. If he's throwing strikes, leave him in there.
Well, we're ready to get going here in the bottom of the fifth inning as Trevor Sharpie and the Slammers return to the field. They will face off against the top of the order for Evansville, Miles Gordon, Zach Biermann, and Jeffrey Baez. Edward Jones, leadoff hitter of the game. Miles Gordon, 1 for 2 with a single and a flyout so far. First offering for Gordon is on the way now. Zoomed out towards center field. Jacobson will run towards it, lift his glove, and bring it in. Tell you what, if Jacobson wasn't playing off to the right side a little bit for the shift that they've been playing on Gordon, that's probably a base hit.
Yeah, and if you notice, all he did was slap at the ball. He didn't give you that home run power swing. And look how far it carried.
Well, that'll bring up the designated hitter, Zach Biermann. one of the league's best utility men. So far in the game, Biermann 1 for 2, a single and a foul out down the left field line.
You know, that's the hard part about the All-Star game balloting. Where do you put Biermann? Left field, third base, first base, DH?
The 1-0 stays inside.
Sometimes that hurts a candidate.
I think right now, first base is where he should be considered.
I think he does a great job at first base myself.
And if not there, I would bet designated hitter is where they would place him as well. 2-0, push to the left side. Bearmore, Jacobson running back towards the wall. The catch is made on the warning track by Bearmore in left. Any other night at this ballpark, a little bit of breeze helps carry that ball. Tonight, not an inch of wind.
And any other ballpark, it might have been out of here too. I'm going to say it traveled 300, and I'm going to give you an estimate, 367 feet.
Well, unfortunately, our Yakkertech data estimated it a bit shorter than that. Sometimes it just gives us wrong numbers, just once in a while.
You're right. I like that. The wrong numbers by the computer.
It said 287, and there's no way it was only 287.
Oh, no way.
So.
My God. The man that's taking those notes should be fired.
That's a computer now.
200 feet. My God.
Jeffrey Baez at the plate now, looking at a 1-0 count, make it a 2-0 count. Baez had an RBI single in the first inning and then managed himself a flyout in the third. Long wait from Sharpie on the bump. Here comes the 2-0. Ooh, nice pitch there that just broke low and away. Caught Baez over the top of it for strike one.
There was a center fielder playing for Minnesota by the name of Kirby Puckett. I don't know if you remember him, but Baez is built like him. Very small, compact, but very powerful.
A 2-1 is fouled back towards the netting, and the count evens up at 2-2 for Jeffrey Baez. Big opportunity for Baez to keep the inning going for the Otters and potentially work towards some more insurance. 2-2, swinging strike three. And it is 3 up, 3 down for the Otters. We head to the sixth inning. Otters still lead by 2 after a couple different innings, picking up just little base hits here and there. It's been a fun one here from Bosse Field. Don't go anywhere, as the sixth inning's coming at you next. Well, you've got to be happy that 2 nights in a row we're working into the 6th and 7th innings, and there's still no action in either bullpen. We've got to see the starters really have starting pitching performances and prove why they're the men for the job.
Well, I know you have said it all year long, and I'll concur with it that the Otters have pretty good starting pitching. And I guess last night and tonight is evidence of what you said.
Well, before we get any further, I want to remind you that Frontier League Baseball on Flow Sports is presented by Old National Bank, your bank for Evansville, your bank for life.
Don't forget our friends from Slay's Restoration.
And Brett Adcock so far on the game. We'll give you a quick little look at his line score at this point in the game. And he has given up just the 1 run. It was unearned on 2 hits across 5 innings of work. He's walked 3, struck out 6.
Not bad. I know when I was sitting out in the main foyer in the dining area, there were two people. One was a young lady and a young man, and they were sporting number 17 shirts.
I saw that
Did
today.
you see
Yeah.
that? Yeah, so they must have been Adcock fans.
Could be his family had come to town. I know that his family stuck with the team while they were in Florence to go watch him play there. So it's possible they made the trip over here to see him play.
Okay.
Scott Holzwasser is kicking off the inning for the Slammers, looking at a 1-1 count to kick it off. The 1-1 headed home for Madcock. Oh, man.
See, that
It's a curveball, but he comes over the top with it.
That is his bread and butter pitch tonight.
Absolutely it is. And I mean, we'll call it like it is. He's had a couple nights where the curveball's just not working for him. But there he goes getting another big swinging strike on it. It is working to perfection tonight.
Right. Well, as you have said it, and I'll concur, Warren Spahn didn't have a curveball every game. He won a lot of games, and Adcock will win a lot more too with that curveball.
Absolutely, he will. 1-2 count. He just about got the strikeout, but it dropped out of the glove of Felix. He'll try again on the 1-2. It's outside for ball 2.
You know, Warren Spahn did play here for the Evansville Braves. I think it was 1938, and got wounded in Normandy. And
2-2. Zoom to the left side, down for a base hit. Down into the left field corner. He's going to get extra bases. The bat almost traveled further than the ball. And it is a leadoff double for Scott Holzwasser. So new lumber for the Fire there. Get your new lumber at Niehaus Lumber.
Well, I was worried about that bat, the part that went flying down there to Phillips at third base. I thought he might get hit with that the portion of the bat that left the handle of the bat.
Well, and that's a tough area for you because now you're not sure what to focus on. If you need to be looking at the ball or at the bat.
Well, if I was there, I would have been ducking the bat.
Hard to keep your eye on both.
I know it.
Matt McCary heads to the plate now. A couple of strikeouts to his name thus far in the game. Otters are going to start to get a man warm in the right field bullpen just in case. His first pitch stays hair high for ball 1.
And I think that's a good move. As we say, just get someone up to loosen up. You don't have to replace the pitcher. Just have someone ready if you need him.
1-0 the count against McGarry. Takes a called strike 1 on the outside edge. It does look like it's Jacob Bowles warming up out there in right field, the former Southern Indiana Screaming Eagle.
Yeah, we haven't seen him for a while, have we?
Yeah, it's been a couple games.
Yeah. Screaming Eagle.
The 1-1 stays a bit high for ball 2.
The Screaming Eagles are going to Division I sports next year, right?
Yeah, I believe that Friday, July 1st, is the day they officially become a Division I institution.
Oh, well, I wish them luck. Yeah, pretty good school.
Should be fun to see what happens for them.
Yeah.
2-1 the count for McGarry. Pitch on the way from Adcock. Swinging strike 2. Way out in front of that one was McGarry.
USI has had some great baseball, national champs, and basketball, too. When, I can't think of his name. I think he's in Auburn now.
Yeah, Bruce Pearl.
Bruce Pearl.
And his player that won the National Player of the Year is now the head basketball coach there at USI.
Oh, is that right?
Stan Gerard.
Oh, okay.
2-2 the count for McGarry. Pitch on the way, and it's lifted foul to the right side, out of play.
Yeah, he's been a winner in any place he goes. USI, then he went to Milwaukee, then he went to Tennessee. So he's been a winner. You know he's from New York. His hangout used to be the Hornet's Nest restaurant. That's a restaurant.
Adcock trying to get himself this first out of the 6th. The 2-2 is just graced foul to the left side. Good defensive hitting from McGarry. That was pitch 115, which is quite a few for Adcock this year, as he has been limited in a couple of his games to the amount of pitches he was allowed to throw.
Well, he's never gone this far.
Not this many pitches, certainly.
I mean,
yeah. The 2-2 once again. This one's sent out towards left. Baez chasing it down and bringing it in. Tell you what, he took a page out of the Elijah McNamee gliding towards the ball play there for out number 1. It'll keep the runner Holzwasser at second. And so far, the season high for Adcock in pitches was 105 at Florence last week. He's definitely beat that this time. The reason I said that it's a lot for him is because in his 2 prior starts, he was held at a 70 pitch max because he was coming back from not feeling well.
Oh.
But he told me today, I have no limits on me. It's just go out there and play my game. First pitch called strike 1.
That is, I tell you what, I think he should throw that more during the game. I mean, he's got good command. It's got a good bite, and it's a strike.
Of his 115 pitches, 71 of them are strikes. The 0-1 on the way home. Swinging strike 2. He had Bursch fooled on that pitch.
Well, he had me fooled too, because I was thinking, well, my God, that's a bad pitch. and the batter swung at it, so now it's 0-2.
Burch almost, I use the saying, swinging out of his shoes, but he just about spun right out of one of them.
Yeah.
0-2 the count to Matt Bursch. Don't absolutely need the strikeout. Just find a way to grab this second out.
You know, I don't know if you ever experienced it. You get a pitcher that quick pitches it to you when you're at the plate. For some reason, you see the pitch coming, you automatically swing. Nervousness or whatever, I don't know.
0-2, called strike 3. That is German American Bank strikeout number 7 of the game for Brett Adcock.
You know, when I was coaching basketball, I used to tell our kids, you're taking the ball out underneath there comes Max. That might be the end of him.
And if so.
But if you're taking the ball out underneath the basket and they're pushing you and you only got 5 seconds to get the ball back in, what you do, and you can't get the ball in, flip it back to the referee. The referee grabs it. You got to restart the count.
Well, the sign is made to right field, and rightfully so. Brett Adcock's going to get a good ovation on his way to the dugout. What a performance from him. We'll tell you more about it and who's coming in for him right after this on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Otters lead by a pair in the top of the 6th. Pitching change here as Jacob Bowles will make his way to the mound, the former Southern Indiana Screaming Eagle in his second year here with the team. He last appeared on Sunday at Lake Erie. In that game, he gave up 1 run on 2 hits across 2/3 of an inning. He also appeared in the final game at Florence, giving up no runs on 3 hits through 3 full innings of work. I'd imagine that the hope for him tonight is get through the 6th, 7th, and potentially the 8th. Keep the game in a place where maybe Logan Sawyer could come in. I guess we'll see as we go through. It's Bulls on the mound. Felix behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road, or call them at 812-475-9000. Let them know that Jacob Bowles sent you. And while we were at it, wanted to say that this Call the Bullpen's presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Look at that. Another great night out on the Corona patio party deck out there in right field. You want to book your next event out there, give our front office a call at 812-435-8686. We'd love to figure out the perfect game for you to bring the friends and family or the coworkers or, I don't know, someone you meet at an Otters game. Come hang out at the right field party deck. Philip Steering is the first man that will face Jacob Bowles. First pitch towards him. It's a called strike on the outside edge. And just like this, the whole game shifts. It goes from a lefty to a hard-throwing righty, just like that, and that changes the way that you have to approach the plate now.
Well, that was like 89 miles an hour, and it was a beautiful strike down the middle.
The 0-1 to Steering. Called strike 2 on the outside edge.
Again, a low pitch, and we've talked about this umpire calling that pitch a low. The low pitch is a strike.
Hey, that's a pitcher that's been doing his homework from the bullpen, ain't it?
Yeah.
Otters just one pitch away, potentially, from ending this 6th inning and tying the bow on Brett Adcock's fantastic day.
I think Adcock deserves the win, and if we get this next strike, we're all right.
The 0-2, way outside, gets away from Felix. The runner will head to third. He'll be there in time. Imagine that one would be a wild pitch, as that one was pretty far outside.
That was a wild pitch, but did you see the bite on it? Oh, my God, that was a great bite. Only thing is, that dog did the biting about 10 feet in front of home plate instead of across home plate.
But still ahead in the count as Bowles. 1-2 the count to Philip Steering. Bowles taking his time up there on the bump. Has himself ready. Sends home the 1-2. Fouled back into the netting.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please.
The runner at third is Scott Holzwasser.
Yeah, we're in the same situation tonight as we were last night. And the score is nearly the same right now, 3-1.
The whole offense just kind of got shifted forward a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, we were on pins and needles last night. We're back on them.
The 1-2. Nice curve there. Picked up by Armstrong. The hard throw to first is in time. No runs will score. And through 5.5, the Otters still lead 3-1. Tying the knot on a great performance from Adcock. We'll tell you his whole line right after this as we head to the bottom of the 6th on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. And we are ready for the bottom half of the 6th inning. First, let's look through Brett Adcock's final line in this game. 1 run, unearned, on 3 hits in 5 2/3 innings of work. Not quite a quality start. Needed that one last out. Regardless, walks 3, strikes out 7 of his 117 pitches. 73 are strikes. That's a good ratio. Got to be happy with that.
Why wouldn't you say it's a quality game or pitcher?
Officially, as a quality start, he's got to have 6 full innings.
Oh, okay.
For a quality start, officially, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's a quality start, but not in the scorebook,
right,
unfortunately.
Okay, you clarified it. Okay. Because, I mean, he worked himself out as a jam.
Absolutely he did.
And
and you limit maybe 1 or 2 of those walks, he probably has another full inning in him. But
Well,
that
if
pitch
you're-
count that worked up so high, he was just, it was one of those, let's take him out before we're too sorry.
Well, one of those batters got a double down left field line, and he had a 2-2 count. And I thought Adcock threw a beautiful curveball for strike 3, and the umpire said no.
There's
of course-
3 more pitches.
Right, so
Yeah.
he got the double on the next pitch. So that could have been one less hit, and another strikeout. But whatever.
Got to be happy with him anyway.
I'd be happy.
Yeah. 1-0 to Sinsley. He skies this one into the infield. And no one knows where it's at. It drops in the infield. And
Now-
Sinsley's going to get himself first.
Now, I bet if I was the manager of the other team, I'd be out there arguing interference. The catcher was interfered with. I'm happy he got a base hit. Did they give him a base hit?
Well, and the problem there, though, was that Sinsley was starting to make his way to first, and the catcher moved to the right to run towards it.
Yes, but the fielder has the right to the field, not the runner. I agree with you.
Well,
But again, I'm going
I
with
think that they're probably also respecting that it was probably a bang-bang play, and the fact that Sinsley now has a guy pushing him from behind, and he's trying to run. And
okay.
maybe there was some confusion. I don't know.
I mean, I'm happy the way the situation ended.
He got himself on base,
Right.
which at the end of the day is good to see for the Otters.
Yep.
They will give him a single.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with it.
That's a tough one for an umpire to make a decision on because you really don't know what the confusion was there.
Well, that's true. But again, and that's why managers manage differently.
Yeah.
Umpires umpire differently.
Absolutely.
And if I was the umpire, I would have called it a different way. That's all.
Well, and that's one of the things to remember about this game. The umpires are human.
Yeah.
They don't umpire a perfect game.
No, and they make more calls than anyone else.
Absolutely. Another throw over to first is not in time. He's done it once already today. He's got J.R. Davis at the plate. He's got an 0-1 count looking at him. Davis so far in the day, RBI single in the first, then a bunt pop out his last time up. Accidentally got too far underneath one.
Well, again, running and bunting. The bat is moving. When you're running, the bat is also moving.
When it's possible he set himself up and then tried to come up towards the ball, and that's when he hit sharply to the right side, threw for a base hit. Sinsley's going to keep himself at second. Hey, that's a sharply hit ball right to the area there was no one at.
And I was watching Shenley, whatever his name is. I was watching him. He didn't look over to Andy, and Andy didn't give any sign, but he knew it was a hard hit ball. He knew second base was that was his home.
Well, and as soon as he turned his eyes to the right side, as soon as the ball went past him, he kind of knew there's no way I'm going past.
Exactly.
Because at that point, he didn't decide to go wide on his run towards second. He went straight at, so he didn't get thrown out.
Right. They don't pay you enough for your observation.
There's runners at first and second for Dakota Phillips. First pitch is on the outside edge for a called strike one. Phillips is 1 for 2 with a foul out down the left field line and then a single in the fourth. It was a hard hit single for him. The 0-1. Hefty swing. He was just a bit behind. That's an 0-2 count.
That was a good call. You're right. He was. It was inside, just high, but the bus had already left the bus depot.
0-2 count for Dakota Phillips. Runners on first and second. No outs in the bottom of the sixth inning. Otters trying to add to their 3-1 lead. Pitch bounces in for ball one.
That catcher did a pretty good job of blocking that one. That would have been pretty hard to have runners on second and third, no outs.
Long way up there on the bump for Trevor Sharpie, who I'm sure you and I will have a longer talk about later in this game. He's been very good working himself out of jams as well.
Yeah, he has.
A 1-2 for Phillips, way outside. Good stop for the catcher, Fullerton.
And Phillips, to his degree, has been a pretty good two-strike hitter.
Yeah.
And in fact, several of his home runs have been after he's had two strikes.
Well, when he's looking at a two-strike approach, that's when he starts to push balls to the left side, it seems a little bit more. And that's where he's got the gap right now.
Right.
Just needs some defensive swings there at the plate, and a lot of the time that'll earn you a base. Two-two count to Dakota Phillips. Runners on first and second for the Otters. No outs in the bottom of the sixth. 2-2 stays low.
Wow.
Close pitch.
Especially with this umpire calling that low pitch a strike. Yes.
And the inside pitch, yeah.
Yep.
That's a gamble, but he won.
Exactly.
He's got a full count pitch now. This could be a big pitch for the Otters when it comes to quality insurance.
I'd like to see it chest high inside.
The 3-2 swinging strike three on a low inside pitch. And Phillips will sit down via the strikeout for the first time this evening. It's the 5th K of the day for Trevor Sharpie. Brings up the right fielder Elijah McNamee, who earned an RBI single the last time he was up on a ball that was ripped down the left field line. Should have been an RBI double, but because there was already a runner on the base paths, he was kind of stuck at first.
Exactly.
He extended his on-base streak to 32 consecutive games with it. First offering, rides high and inside for a called strike on the edge. Defense is set up as if they would like to have a double play, but they're also playing far enough back so they do respect the bat of McNamee. 0-1 count. Hefty swing on a pitch that broke inwards towards McNamee. And he's down 0-2 in the count.
Now you got to defend that plate. We need the extra run. I mean,
the 0-2 count for McNamee. Sent down the left field line, just foul.
Well,
Very close.
The catcher was looking for a pitch low and outside, and the pitch ended up being inside. That's why it was pulled down the left field line. So the pitcher didn't throw the ball where the catcher wanted him to.
And McNamee is benefiting because of it, keeping himself alive.
Yep.
0-2 the count. Tell you what, the center fielder is playing a significant distance towards right field. Huge gap in left center. The 0-2 to McNamee. Catches the inside edge for a called strike three, and McNamee will sit down via the backwards K, the 6th strikeout of the day for Sharpie.
You know, I think the pitch, not that pitch, but one of the strikes before was on that same type pitch. It was inside. In fact, the first strikeout.
The catcher, Justin Felix, heads to the plate now. 2 strikeouts in the game for him. And he's facing off against the pitcher, Sharpie, who has just thrown back-to-back strikeouts.
Right.
This is a chance to put all of that hard work you've had in BP, put it in the game, and add the insurance to the Otters. First offering. Grabs that inside edge for a called strike one.
I tell you what, this Sharpie is throwing strikes.
Absolutely is.
And he's doing a pretty good job.
And he's learned the umpire, and he's pitching to his advantages.
You're
he
right.
knows he's going to get the inside pitch, so he is pitching there.
That's right.
It's a high baseball IQ. 0-1 for Felix. A half swing. They say, did he go? No, he did not, says the first base umpire, Mike O'Leary. And the count evens up.
I think we got a break. My opinion, he did go. So the Otters got a break. Let's see if we capitalize on it.
1-1 count for Evansville and Justin Felix with 2 outs and runners on first and second.
One of those runs got to score. We need an extra insurance.
The Otters lead 3-1. The 1-1 to Felix works inside. A called strike. That's probably the furthest inside we've seen one called so far in the game.
I know, but inside.
Yep.
Inside.
He knows where to throw him.
Yep. You know, here we are in the sixth inning, and he hasn't reached 100 pitches yet.
Yeah, he's worked his pitch count very well.
Yes, he has.
The 1-2. Felix lays it off. There goes Sinsley towards third. The throw down in time, but the bounce in allowed Sinsley to get in there.
A good throw, and he was out. But as you say, a bounce throw. The third baseman had to reach for it, then come back and make the tag. And with that, Sinsley had his hand in on the bag.
Well, you know, Sinsley probably shouts something like, "Come on, Felix, bring me home."
Right.
90 feet. All he's got to do is lay something down in the huge gap straight up the middle. Goodness. The 2-2. Dribbled to the left side. Picked up by DePreta Johnson. The throw to first in time. And the Otters are not quite able to bring in a run. They still do lead by a pair as we head to the seventh inning. Tell you what, back-to-back nights, we've got great games between these two.
Great pitching.
Absolutely.
That's been the secret. Great pitching.
Well, the back third of the game is coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Don't go anywhere. We're into the back third of the game, top of the seventh. Coming at you here on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. Jacob Bowles returns to the mound for the Otters. This is where you get to see Bowles just settle in and do what he does best. They give him the ball and say, 2-3 innings, go out and do you.
Well, I hope that Screaming Eagle spreads his wings and gets that 3 outs that we need.
Well, he'll face off against Maxwell, Biermann, and Fullerton, the bottom 3 hitters of the Joliet lineup. Starting off with Carson Maxwell, who's 0 for 2, reaching on an error in the second and gaining an RBI on the play as well. He also struck out in the 4th inning. Bowles has himself ready. Fires the first pitch home.
Ooh.
Nice pitch that broke towards the outside half of the plate for a swinging strike one. You know, one of the things that makes Bowles good is he's obviously a reliever at heart. He does a lot of the relief work, but because he's a long relief guy, he has a little bit of a windup that changes every pitch, keeps a hitter on their toes. A really slow windup that time. Usually it's a very quick step back, and that time he changed it up on us.
You see an awful lot of things others don't. I'll say that. You'd make a good baseball scout.
1-1 count for Carson Maxwell. Attacks the inside edge, and it's just a bit off for ball 2.
When I come back to my new life and I'm the scouting director, be on call. I might have a job for you.
All right. Huge gap right up the middle. Carson Maxwell trying to make something of a 2-1 count. Pitch on the way from Bowles. And it's a swinging strike, too, in the exact same pitch he got the first strike with.
You know, that was, you steal my thunder
I'm sorry.
all the time.
I'm so sorry.
It looks like a slider.
Yeah.
And it just like breaks maybe 6 to 10 inches, and that's all it does. But it's got the quick break.
Yeah. And it's a lot slower than a lot of sliders. It's
Right.
in the 81, 82s.
Yeah. And it's always on the outside of the plate. Oh.
Got it again.
They
said yes, he did, so they're going to throw down.
I would say so myself.
Tell you what, if he takes off right away, he might be safe.
Yep.
But the throwdown's in time for the first strikeout, a German-American bank strikeout for Jacob Bowles, his first of the game.
Yes, I knew it was a strike. You know, whether it was a strike or not, as the catcher, you don't know what the umpire's called, so you got to run back and get that ball as quick as you can.
Chandler Brierly warming up for Joliet in the left field bullpen, the lefty out of Ridgewood, New Jersey. Lane Barrymore at the plate now. He's 0 for 2 with a fly out and a strikeout so far. Long wait for Bowles between the pitches. Kicks and delivers.
Ooh.
Pitch that stayed outside.
With that break.
And this is where Bowles is taking advantage of the fact that Joliet lined up their whole lineup with a bunch of righties.
Yeah.
Because those righties are trying to swing at that slider, and he's taking advantage of it. The 0-2, he tried it again there. It broke a little too far.
Yeah, and it had too much of a bite. He might have held on to it just a little too long.
One to the count, 1 out, nobody on in the top of the 7th inning.
And back years ago when I was at San Diego, and we'd be in spring training in Yuma, the first week we'd be in spring training, it would be the last week of the Japanese team. And they'd be out middle of the night, and here you see the pitchers out on the lawn with towels. And all they're doing is learning to snap that towel, which again would be the breaking, snapping the curveball. Yeah, it'd be like 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and there might be 20 of them out there snapping those towels.
1-2 the count for Lane Barrymore. Pitch is on the way towards him. Works inside. Count evens up at 2-2.
And when they broke camp, one of the Marine officers, a retired colonel, married a Japanese girl, had a big, beautiful home, and he'd put a big party for the Japanese team. And, of course, he'd invite the Padres. And, of course, I was one of the front office echelon.
A 2-2 is lifted out towards right center field. McNamee giving chase out there. Beats the ball there. 4 out, number 2.
And the Japanese had a habit. Everybody gets a gift. And being just an ordinary, I was a major league scout, so I would get like a T-shirt. And my brother would say, "What do you want that garbage for?" In the meantime, as the general manager, they dropped off a 24-foot-inch TV at his apartment. Yeah, don't worry about the cheap TV, shirt. He was getting the TV.
J.P. Fullerton, the catcher, now at the plate. First offering towards him. Called strike right at the elbows.
Yeah.
Still a man warming up for Joliet. No action for the Otters, rightfully so. Bowles is in good control right now. The 0-1 to Fullerton. Works a bit too far outside. I do believe, this is the first lefty that we've got to see Bowles face so far in this game.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see the different approach he has towards the at-bat. Still attacking the outside edge. Now he goes inside and gets a swinging strike.
Yes, what a beautiful. And again, now whether he's throwing cut fastballs or they're sliders, I don't know which, but they've got a good bite to them.
Absolutely. When the batter commits to swinging, it's in one place, and once they get there, it's certainly not.
Yeah.
And the batter, J.P. Fullerton, chases high and away for a swinging strike 3. And it's a 3-up, 3-down situation. 2 German-American Bank strikeouts for Jacob Bulls. And we head to the bottom half of the 7th. Otters lead by a pair. Well, as we get ready for the bottom of the 7th, it's Trevor Sharpie who returns to the mound for Joliet. Hey, I tell you what, rightfully so. He's been very good in this game. Before we talk more about that, I want to remind you that Frontier League Baseball on Flow Sports is presented by Bud Light. But at this point in the game, Trevor Sharpie is at 96 pitches. 60 of them are strikes. He's managed his part of the game well. Why not?
I think he's pitching brilliantly. I wouldn't replace him if I was the manager. I mean, we're talking about a 3-1 game. All you need is one man on base. Guy hits a home run, it's a tied game.
Absolutely. One more insurance run would feel very good.
Oh, I would say so. And I thought we had it last inning, but no sense in counting those chickens until they hatch.
Absolutely. They look like they have, or they do, still have Chandler Brierly warming up down there in left field, but he doesn't seem to have a lot of control over some of the pitches he was throwing. A lot of them were ending up in left field off of the wall. So I think they were just a little skittish about putting him in that early with the little bits of struggles he was having there in the bullpen. And now he's stopped throwing out there.
The shortstop, number 8.
Regardless, it's 9-1-2, 2 up for the Otters. Andy Armstrong, Miles Gordon, and Zach Biermann. Tell you what, Armstrong's due for a hit.
Well, the third baseman, I'm going back, is playing deep. Andy's a good bunter.
And I just saw his eyes right here on our center field camera. He glanced towards third base right before he stepped up. He does swing the bat towards shortstop. DePrita Johnson picks it up and throws to first. A full split for the first baseman steering to make that. And it's in time for out number 1.
All right, first pitch, ground ball.
Edward Jones, leadoff man of the game. Miles Gordon heads to the plate. 1 for 3, a single, and then 2 sharply hit balls towards center field.
You know, we haven't seen much of in the last homestand or in this one. Too many people trying to attempt to steal.
Not as much. The time I see it the most is when Gordon gets on and then Biermann gets on and they're at first and second, and they always double steal. It seems every time. Other than that, there haven't been a ton of stolen base attempts unless Jeffrey Baez is the only one on base. He almost always tries for second.
I knew you were going to bring him up. I knew you were going to bring him up.
I think he's the only one I've seen steal a base or try a stolen base on a solo attempt in the last 2 weeks.
And he's been pretty successful.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ever since Gary Mattis's contract was purchased by the Diamondbacks, the stolen base part of this game has decreased.
Exactly.
And that was expected,
Yeah.
of course.
No, you're right. But you've got some pretty good speed on the Otters, and they should take advantage of it.
Well, now that we stop and think about it, I don't even remember the last time I saw the Otters try a hit and run.
I'm going to say this. I've watched Andy for 12 years, and I don't recall him ever maybe I'm wrong, but I don't recall ever seeing him with a hit and run.
Like, I think I've maybe seen it once or twice all season, but they were in the early parts of the season.
It must have been on the road.
Counts at 1-2 for Miles Gordon. Pushes one towards shallow center field. Chasing back is DePrita Johnson, the shortstop, and he's the one who brings it in for out number 2. That'll bring up the designated hitter, Zach Biermann, who's 1 for 3. A single and then a couple of flyouts to left. But here's the thing about those 2 flyouts. Both were counts he had 3 balls in, and then both were very hard hit to left field.
You're right. 3-0 counts. That's right. And I never said nothing I was going to, but I kept my mouth shut. I don't agree with it.
First pitch towards him. It's called strike 1, but grazed in. And if there was any sort of a breeze here, even blowing in towards some amount of wind to keep a ball up in the air, he would have had a home run on his last one. But it stopped just a few feet short. Digs at something low and inside, and he's down 0-2 in the count.
And the patio umbrellas are in their natural state, protecting them from the rain.
Absolutely. Oh, 2 count to Zach Biermann. Nobody on in a 2-out attempt, and it's high for ball 1. I hear the kids in attendance chanting, "Let's go Otters," and I'll tell you, the last 2 nights have been some of the most engaged crowds we've had all season long here at Bosse Field. Even though they haven't been the biggest crowds, tell you, it feels like every person here wants to be here.
Well, I thought we had, 1,900 last night.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say we need 2,500 for Mr. Bussing to break even.
Well, I tell you what, tomorrow it sounds like it's going to be in the upwards of probably in 5,000 range because of it.
What's tomorrow night?
It's just the last home game before the July 4th weekend. The team's on the road all weekend, and they're expecting a good turnout once again.
Oh, okay. All right.
Plus, it's Jacob Village night as well.
Oh, well, now that's a different category. They come out to support Mr. Bussing has supported that program. Well, I'm going to say ever since I can remember.
Yeah, they came out to the ballpark last week and hung out with some of our players and coaches and us full-time staff, and we got to play some baseball with them last week. We had a great time there before the team head on the road to Florence. And back-to-back pitches, Biermann fouls pitches off his leg.
All the money, and I stand to be corrected what I'm saying, but all the money collected for the Jacob Village goes to them. Mr.
Concession,
Bussing.
Beer money, admission money, everything
Right.
on tomorrow night is all going towards them.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a big loss to Mr. Bussing's pocket. You know, when
loss to the pocket, but a gain everywhere else.
Oh, yes. I mean, the good Lord's looking down at him and saying, you just
Biermann chops one towards shallow right, and it's caught for out number 3. That will probably do it for Trevor Sharpie, and if so, it's been a very good outing for him. We're through 7 complete innings. Otters still lead by 2, 3-1 our score as we head to the 8th. And we head to the top of the 8th inning, and it's once again Jacob Bowles who heads back on the mound. He threw a 3-up, 3-down inning in that 7th. Why not bring him back out? He's pitching very well.
I agree with you. You know, that's why when you make the measures, remember, I'm your sidekick.
Okay, I'll let him know.
All right.
I'll tell him that we're a package deal.
Exactly. And I'm at discount.
First pitch is zoomed out to center field.
That's a base hit.
Right in front of Gordon for a single to lead off the half inning.
And is someone warming up for the Otters now?
Not right now.
Well, the first batter got on.
And now he jumps up.
Okay.
Just had to wait a second.
Okay. And again, we emphasize, you don't have to bring him in. Just have someone warmed up.
Now it's Augie Gallardo out there who is starting to throw. We got to hear some fun information about Augie Gallardo during batting practice today. Throw out to second is very late from Felix. It gets away, but Armstrong's able to pick it up, and they at least keep it close.
Well, did you notice what happened on that particular play? Felix was ready. He cocked the arm to throw it to second base, and the umpire interfered. So Felix couldn't throw. He had a double pump because, again, the umpire interfered. But, again, what are you going to do? It's the umpire.
Yep.
It was a player, then you'd rule the batter out.
But I'll take one out of your book for a second. Right now, that guy doesn't matter too much.
Exactly.
0-1 to DePrita Johnson.
Strike.
Called strike on the inside edge. Might not be a strike every night, but it certainly is tonight.
Yep.
Long way up there for Bulls. Has his sign. Look out to second. Fires home on the 0-2. Misses low and away for ball 1.
Yeah, too low. That would have been a good pitch if it was maybe a foot higher. Well, you said it, and I'll repeat it. The runner on second don't mean nothing. Go for the out. Kill the rally before it goes too far.
Absolutely. The 1-2. Sent right back up the middle. Davis will play it on 2 hops to first in time for 1 out. The runner moves up, but you know what? You got the out that mattered.
Right. Have you noticed? I don't care whether Davis is playing third base or second base. But before he throws the ball, he's got to take a little skip. That could hurt you eventually.
But it does seem like the times he tries to hustle a play and does not do that, that's when his throws are often off the line a little bit.
Right.
So he seems to do it to make sure he's staying in line. So Scott Holzwasser heads to the plate now, takes a ball high and inside to start off his count. So far on the day, Holzwasser has a double back in the 6th inning, a strikeout and a flyout.
Well, we need a strikeout right now. That's a strike. Yep.
Ball works in towards that inside edge. And I really like that Jacob Bowles takes a play right out of Brett Adcock's book for tonight. You don't have to throw hard.
You don't. And we've been saying that all year. Velocity is nice, but it's not important.
The 1-1. Sent right back up the middle. Long run for Davis. He keeps it in front of him. There won't be a play. The run scores, but it does set up a double play.
Yep.
He had to move a long way to keep that in front of him.
Right. Steve Carlton pitched for the St. Louis Cardinals. Was one of the flamethrowers of his era. And he finished his career with the Phillies, and I'm talking about 1980s now. His fastball was 78 miles an hour. And here he is still winning in the major leagues with a 78-mile-an-hour fastball.
Does look like that'll end Jacob Bowles' day. Augie Gallardo will head in out of the bullpen and right. We'll tell you more about him right after this on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. A pitching change needed in the top of the 8th. pitching change needed here for the Otters. Augie Gallardo will get the nod out of the bullpen out there in right. His last appearance, like Bill mentioned before the break, was just last night. And, one of the things that he really impressed with last night was the insane amount of curve on his slider.
Right.
In fact, there were one of the things that a lot of people are looking at nowadays is the spin rate of sliders. And turns out his is one of the quickest they've recorded since they've started recording it. More on that in a second. Want to let you know that Gallardo's on the mound after the pitching change presented by Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. Gallardo on the mound, Felix behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by The Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at The Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Call at 812-475-9000. Let them know that Augie Gallardo sent you. Well, that was the thing that stuck out the most to you and I last night, is that if you're going to get a base hit against Augie Gallardo, you're going to earn it because of the unreal amount of spin he puts on a ball. Even if you make contact, it dies once it hits that infield grass.
Well, last night he got two very, very, very important strikeouts.
Absolutely he did.
And let's hope he can get one here now.
First offering, and he's going to go fire over to first. That's a quick turn and throw.
Yeah.
But it is not quick enough to grab Holzwasser. Third baseman Matt McGarry at the plate now, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a flyout. First pitch home. Won't be a throw out to second as it got away from Felix on the exchange. An important stolen base there by Holzwasser.
Now, we had spoke about an inning earlier about we haven't seen too many stolen bases, and here we got 2 in this inning alone. 2 successful stolen bases, 1 scoring.
Counts at 1-0 for Matt McGarry. Pitch on the way. Breaks away, gets past Felix, and the runner's at third now. The last thing you wanted Gallardo to give up once he hit the mound was that right there.
Did they call that a pass ball or a wild pitch? Pass ball. It looked like it went through his legs.
2-0 the count towards McGarry. Gallardo will kick and fire at home. And he missed a bit on the inside edge.
Well, we got the infielders at the edge of the grass playing in.
3-0 count to McGarry. Called strike 1 right at the elbows. This is where the Otters absolutely need the very best from Augie Gallardo. The 3-1. Lifted high and foul to the right side. Sinsley trying to chase it down in foul territory. There goes the bullpen scattering, but it will make it into foul territory.
Well, I want you to observe, where was our right fielder? I mean, for Big Mac to come in as far as he did.
He covered a lot of ground.
That is hustle. I mean, Sinsley went over, I'm going to say 150 feet, where Big Mac ran about 300 feet.
3-2 count to McGarry. Big pitch in this game. Swinging strike 3. Oh, McGarry is going to be very upset at that one. Had himself a free base, but Gallardo was able to fool him a little bit and grab a German-American Bank strikeout, a very important one.
I have watched baseball all my life, and I've never seen anyone practice swinging at a ball that is low and outside, that they've got to extend their body and extend their arms to swing at it.
Matt Birch heads to the plate. First pitch rides high and inside on him, just about catches him.
Right.
But he's able to get out of the way for ball 1. So far for Birch, a single in the second. He came around to score the first run for Joliet, but then a ground out and a strikeout in his last 2 appearances.
We can get this guy out with a ground ball or fly ball. We'll be.
Tell you what, anything gets it done here.
Yes.
The 1-0 stays a bit low for ball 2. Because if you can make it out of this inning, you can ask Logan Sawyer to warm up and put the game in his hands.
Right.
Which
generally they'll probably do.
And it's a lot of pressure to put on a closer, obviously, but that's part of the job for him.
Well, that's what he's getting paid big money for.
Absolutely. Right. The 2-0. Sends out towards shallow center. Armstrong bounces back, pulls it in for out number 3, and we head to the bottom of the 8th. Otters still lead by 1. Exactly what Gallardo needed to do. He was able to get done.
You ain't kidding, buddy.
And collectively, Bossy Field takes a sigh of relief. We head to the bottom of the 8th right after this on the Otters Digital Network. We head to the bottom half of the 8th inning here, and a pitching change finally for Joliet. The last Tanner Keast to enter the game. 6'3", 240. Tall man up there on the bump. And because of it, he can get a lot of velocity going home. It replaces Trevor Sharpie, who was very good in this game as well. This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs.
Sharpie was very, very competitive. And even though he's from the other team, in a way, you got to say he deserves to win. Just like, our pitcher. But
and if he ends up losing this game, that's a tough luck loss.
Exactly.
I mean, you did everything you could.
That's what I'm trying to say. You said it better.
Keast is on the mound. Fullerton behind the plate. That pitcher-catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Give them a call at 812-475-9000. Jeffrey Baez, Steven Sinsley, J.R. Davis due up. Tell you what, if you need a run in a pinch, these 3 are pretty good at helping out.
Well, I would like to see Mr. Baez get hold of one of them and hit it over that Tyler-made sign.
Yeah, he was honored for his 100th career home run before today's game. Just seems kind of poetic for him to hit one right here, right?
Yeah.
Starts with a called strike 1 on the outside edge of the plate. Baez has seen his average go all over the place this year. Struggled in the early goings of things, was down in the low 200s, surged it up to the high 200s after going 9 for 10 in the series at Schaumburg.
I remember that, yeah.
The 0-1, hefty swing, and he just didn't quite have a long enough bat.
What was it, 4 for 4 in one game and 5 for 5 or something like that?
Yeah, I know something like that,
Something
yeah.
like that,
His only out was a strikeout, and every single other one was a base hit.
Base hit, yeah.
Including his 100th home run. The 0-2 to Jeffrey Baez. Just misses on the outside edge. And that's pretty consistent with where Marvin King has called strikes all game. There's a couple umpires that would call that a called strike 3, but certainly not tonight.
No, this guy's calling inside pitches and low pitches. again, you're not faulting him if
No.
he's consistent.
No, he's been very consistent tonight,
Right,
I think.
right.
Yeah. The 1-2 to Jeffrey Baez. Low and away, and he chases for a called strike 3. And he has a little fun with the catcher Fullerton at home plate before heading back to the dugout.
But again, there's that pitch that we've said you've never seen anyone warm up and swinging at that pitch. Low, outside, you're extending your body, your arms. There's no way you're going to hit that pitch. But you know what it is? You've already committed yourself to the swing before the ball is ever thrown.
Steven Sinsley up to the plate now.
That's a strike, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a strike. It went off the bat and into the glove of Fullerton.
Yeah.
Sinsley has singles in his last 2 at-bats, is 2 for 3 on the day.
You know, you were still back in Wichita when we had a U of E basketball coach named Jim Cruz. And they had more turnovers with him as a coach. And they would explain that the guard or the forward, whoever it was, would be cutting off a center, and whoever was in the backcourt was supposed to feed him. Well, the guy didn't cut, but the man with the ball did feed him, and before you know it, they were throwing it away. That was why there were so many turnovers. Well, the same here. If you're anticipating the pitch is going to be here, but it's not, and you're swinging, it's a strikeout. Does that make sense? No, good.
0-2 to Steven Sinsley, fouled off to the left side.
That's like thinking you're winning the lottery and you spend the money before you win it. Then you got to pay back all that those things you bought.
Sinsley looking at an 0-2 count, trying to help extend this bottom of the 8th inning for the Otters. The 0-2 stays low for ball 1. That's a tough pitch to lay off as a lefty.
That dropped.
Yeah.
I mean, that looked like a good strike. And like you said, it just
disappeared out of the zone.
The bottom just fell.
1-2 count towards the powerful hitting Steven Sinsley. Pitch on the way to him. High and outside, ball 2. Tell you what, Steven Sinsley is obviously a utility man for the Otters, but I've really been impressed with his first base work, which is upsetting because I've been really impressed with Zach Biermann's first base work.
I'll agree with you both, but Sinsley kind of is a better first baseman. I got to say that as far as scooping up those, they do both do a good job, but I have to give Sinsley the nod.
It's really nice they both have big bats because you can always rotate them between DH and first base.
Right.
2-2 to Sinsley. Sinson bouncing towards Birch at second. He'll play it on a couple of hops. The throw to first. Close play in time for out number 2. That is a really close play at first.
Oh, if I was coaching first base, I'd be jumping all over that umpire right now. You know, you argue with an umpire, you're not going to get that umpire to change. But what you're doing is intimidating him for the next call.
No off day for the Otters on Monday. 4 games set at Gateway to celebrate the 4th of July. All 4 games start at 6:45 Central. You can catch them right here on the Otters Digital Network. And I'll have the audio only available for you free of charge there on YouTube. First pitch to J.R. Davis is on the way. Stays outside, ball 1. I tell you what, that center fielder is playing in right center field right now.
Yes, he's way
He
over.
is way over there.
I'm going to say a good 30, 40 feet. In fact, they just moved over a few more feet to right.
The 1-0, and it's right through the middle, and there goes the center fielder, have to run towards it. Wouldn't have made a difference. It's still a hard hit single for J.R. Davis.
Now, here's where we might be stealing a base. We got Phillips, the batter, and I'm going to gamble and send him down. But on what pitch? First or second?
I expect Tanner Keist to throw over on this first pitch. At least one time to throw over to keep him close, and then I'd take off on the first pitch. Don't give him a second try.
Well, I'm going to steal on the second pitch.
Davis looks antsy over there at first, and they're going to go check on him. He's back in time. Dakota Phillips at the plate now. He's 1 for 3, a single strikeout and foul out. See if this is the first pitch towards Phillips or another check over to first. Pitch home. Swinging strike 1 by Dakota Phillips. That pitch just got out of his wheelhouse.
Kind of slow with that bat anymore. You know, he used to have a quick bat. Now it's kind of slowed down. I wonder if he's carrying the team too much on his back. Now I'd still send JR down.
The 0-1 to Dakota Phillips. Another hefty swing. Ends up empty-handed. 94 mile an hour out of the hand of Keist, by the way.
Well, now you got to send him. If you may not be any more pitches after this one, so you got to send him. This way, Dakota could be the leadoff hitter in that extra inning.
0-2 pitch, taking a long time for the decision. And it's on the way home. Stays inside for ball 1. Mass goes flying from Ferguson. But the count goes to 1-2 for Dakota Phillips. 2 outs, runner on first. Logan Sawyer looks ready to enter this game at any point now out there in right field. The closer for the Otters is 11 of 11 in save opportunities this year. 1-2 the count. Pitch is on the way, and it's high outside ball 2. Logan Sawyer stands atop the Frontier League all alone with 11 saves. Adams up there at Quebec is right behind him with 10.
Really? Wow.
But there are currently only 5 guys with more than 6 saves this year. 2-2 count for Dakota Phillips. Keist glances towards first and kicks home. It's a called strike 3 for Phillips. And that will end the 8th inning. We head to the top of the 9th where Logan Sawyer is going to try to pick up his league-leading 12th save of the year. Exciting finish. Coming at you next on the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports right after this. And we're ready for the top of the 9th inning. Logan Sawyer into the game. The man from Knoxville, Tennessee, trying to pick up his league-leading 12th save of the season. Tell you what, there's a reason that he's at the top of the league, and it's because he does what he does very well. He manages around the batters he faces well, and part of that is he can throw really hard and really accurately.
I believe last night, didn't he have a couple pitches about 95 mile an hour?
Usually they live right about there.
Yeah.
This call to the bullpen is presented by our friends at Business Communication Solutions. Contact BCS for all your business solution needs. It's Sawyer on the mound. Felix behind the plate. That pitcher catcher battery is sponsored by the Answer Auto Repair East. Find all your battery needs at the Answer Auto Repair East, located at 2319 North Green River Road. Or give them a call at 812-475-9000. Let them know that Logan Sawyer sent you. Finishing up his last warm-up toss. Tell you what, last night, of course, was his 11th of the season. He now has 35 saves in his career. It spans over 2 or 3 or 4 years, and he's pitched over 100 games. He's found a lot of usability as a minor league and low league pitcher. And I tell you what, there is the only timer I see going down is how long it takes him to get that call to the next level. I would expect it to be by the end of this year with the way he's pitched this year.
Believe it or not, the other night when he won, I was saying to myself, that's the next guy we're going to lose.
Absolutely.
And if I was a scout and I was covering this league, I would certainly call the office and say, hey, we've got a guy down here in Evansville, and I think he warrants a chance. So let's go. Let me go and sign him.
Well, and the thing that is so impressive about him is it's very rare you get a bad outing from him, or even a poor, not even bad, just a rough outing from him.
Right.
He's so consistent, and that's hard to ask for out of a relief pitcher in the year of 2022.
Yeah.
But he delivers every single night. He received the loss at Lake Erie because he was brought in the 10th with the game tied and a ghost runner at second, kind of put into a tough situation. But other than that game, he's been really fun to watch all season long.
And that was the game the guy put that perfect bunt down the third base line and put the runners on first and third, and the runner on third scored. We lost the game. That was because the guy that hit the home run the inning before, that's a strike, right? No?
They say it stays a bit high for ball two. And it does look like Max Peterson gave his thoughts about it as well. But the count's at 2-1 for Philip Steering, who's 1 for 2 on the day. The 2-1 towards him stays high near the hands for ball 3. Post-game fireworks here at Bosley Field tonight and tomorrow night. So if you want to come join us for Thirsty Thursday and Jacobs Village night, our friends from Meyer will be here as well. Should be a great night at the ballpark. 3-1 towards Steering. Lifted high and foul. It'll get out of play. Look out up on the roof.
Well, it's a great night for fans, but also a great night for your parents who are here to watch you and listen to you and join you for a couple days. And I'd like to say my association with your parents within last night and today has been great. I think you got wonderful parents.
I think they're pretty great. All right. Yeah. 3-2 to Steering. Lifted foul. It once again gets too far back. That one ends up right above us, actually.
Yeah. There's so many children out there that don't appreciate their parents. And you remember when they were small, who fed them and who clothed them and who did everything was your parents. And you got to appreciate them. And tonight is senior citizen night, too, right? So there's a lot of parents out there.
Tell you what, I wouldn't be sitting in this seat if it wasn't for him.
Exactly.
3-2 to Steering. Swinging, strike 3. Sawyer gets himself a German American Bank strikeout to kick off the 9th inning.
And the batter can't believe it. He's just mesmerized.
Well, I think I've seen that a ton this year when guys strike out to Logan Sawyer. It's like they go to the plate wanting to be the guy who's not going to get struck out by him. But he's just a hard guy to bat against.
Well, if you're throwing 99 miles an hour, I'll tell you what.
Don't blink.
That's right. I mean, that's not an easy pitch to hit.
You better start swinging when that ball leaves his hand.
In 1956, the Braves, we had what they called a pitching machine that was like a bazooka. It was just a tube. And I mean, you set it up on the mound there, and fortunately, it would go ding ding before it threw it. And we learned when we were taking batting practice, that starts swinging when you heard the ding ding. And that was a waste of time because we never seen an arm. All we heard was ding ding, start swinging.
That's one of the things that surprised me about the Frontier League this year, something I didn't know. There's a lot of teams in this league that use pitching machines for their BP.
Really?
Yeah, I was surprised.
Me too.
0-2 is the count to Carson Maxwell.
Well, get this one pitch and get him out of there.
Pitch on the way.
Strike 3.
Called. Strike 3.
2 strikeouts. Great pitching.
Back-to-back German-American Bank strikeouts from Logan Sawyer. And down to their last out are these Joliet Slammers.
Well,
and after losing their last 2 series, the Otters are an out away from getting a series win against a very good Joliet team.
Well, let's hope we can get this guy out with I'd be happy with a ground ball.
Lane Barrymore so far in the night, 0 for 3, 2 hard flyouts. It's a deep out right center field and a strikeout. First pitch to him, just a bit outside for ball 1.
You know, you're talking about batting practice using pitching machines. Back in when I was playing back in the 50s, do you know the starting pitcher tonight would have been throwing batting practice tomorrow? And that was his loosening up pitches.
1 ball, no strikes to Lane Barrymore. Sawyer sends it his way, and it's a swinging strike 1. And that was just a
92-mile-an-hour fastball. That wasn't that good, but I tell you, anything over 85 is pretty good.
That was just one where the batter could not keep up with it.
Right.
He was just playing behind it. No 2 ways about it. 1-1 towards Barrymore. Sawyer kicks and delivers. And it's sent back into the netting on the foul ball.
This would be great if he could get this strikeout. Oh, my God, it would be great.
Well, I'll tell you what, in the last couple of outings for him, he hasn't had as many strikeouts. He's done more about the ground ball and stuff. So it'd be nice to see him get back on that strikeout train, which is what makes him, I think, so much more dangerous. He threw his 250th strikeout just a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, boy. Well, I hope he gets it right here.
But right now, I think there's only one that matters to him, and it's this one here. The 1-2 to end the game. Stays a bit low, and count evens up.
That was a good pitch, but didn't go for it.
So the count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Logan Sawyer trying to pick up another save. Has his sign. Kicks and sends it home. Sent straight out towards second. Down for a base hit in right center field.
That's a double.
Long run for Elijah McNamee. He just now picked up the ball.
That might be a triple.
And they are going to hold him at second.
Oh, okay.
Probably smart. J.R. Davis has a rocket arm there at second. Might have been a close play at third. Plus, you've got a catcher playing third who knows how to make that tag.
Well, now we got the runner at tying position. In scoring position, but we had 2 strikes on him. But again, the bat was late, and that's why it went to right field.
This is where you take a deep breath up there on the mound, regroup, and go after the catcher, J.P. Fullerton, who has 2 walks and a strikeout thus far. This is where you just take an opportunity at going after Fullerton, who hasn't put a ton of games in this season. Sawyer has himself ready to look out towards second. First pitch home. Called strike 1 near the knees.
And we got the fire truck out there in center field. I don't know if that light is affecting the batters or not. That's an aerial truck out there, and there's a light. Now, that could be, that might be an interference. I don't know. Because my eyes are focused on it.
0-1 the count to J.P. Fullerton. Pitch heads home. Grounded towards Davis at second. Picks it up on 2 hops. The throw to first in time. And the Otters win. Not just the game, but the series. Back-to-back nights with saves from Logan Sawyer. Boy, does it feel good to see the Otts back on the winning side of things. A 3-2 win over these Joliet Slammers. We'll go ahead and keep it right here for the postgame. Brett Adcock gets his second win of the season. First fireworks of the night go off right now to celebrate the win. A couple minutes away from the rest of them. The loss goes to Trevor Sharpie. That's one of those that you feel so bad for Trevor Sharpie. He pitched so well in this game, but gets that tough luck loss. In the end, Sharpie ends up giving up 3 runs on 9 hits in 7 innings of work, struck out 6 throughout it. He's got to be happy with that start.
Yeah, well, again, now you know how some of our pitchers feel like when they pitch an outstanding game, and they're not even included within the win or the loss.
Adcock gets the win, allowing 1 run unearned on 3 hits in 5 2/3 innings of work. Struck out 7, walked just 3. The Otters got their first 2 runs in the first inning, one on a RBI single from Baez, the next on an RBI single from J.R. Davis. Had to wait all the way into the 4th to find the Otters' last run of the game, an RBI single from McNamee. That would prove to be the game-winning run for the Otters. Joliet was able to score a run early in the game on an RBI error in the second inning. They found their second run in the 8th inning with an RBI single from Scott Holzwasser. They couldn't find anything else, though, and the Otters cruise on to win this one behind solid work from their 3 bullpen men. Bowles was good out of the bullpen. Gallardo came in and grabbed those couple of strikeouts. Then Sawyer just, came in and was Logan Sawyer.
And let's give credit to Armstrong at shortstop for that outstanding play. And then
Multiple.
Right, but then let's go to center field. A beautiful catch out there. So it was not only a good pitching game, it was a good defensive game.
Absolutely. It was one of those that feels good because, they didn't rely on the home run to get the job done tonight, which is something they do a lot of the time. This one, they got the small base hits. They moved runners one at a time. They had good defensive play, good starting pitching, good bullpen. This is one of the few times that every piece of the game has come together.
I'd agree with you. Plus, good broadcasting by you.
Well, we'll give you a couple of quick finals from across the Frontier League. Washington defeats Florence 12-6. New York defeats Empire State 5-4. Schaumburg, big win at Lake Erie, 13-2. Ottawa comes from behind to defeat New Jersey 10-5. Of course, Tri-City and Trois-Rivières, they were postponed. They'll play a doubleheader tomorrow. Sussex County gets a 4-2 win against Quebec. That's a big win. Sussex County might be the hottest team in the league right now. Of course, these Otters get a 3-2 win against Joliet. And the final game of the night, Gateway has a 12-7 lead at Windy City in the 7th inning. Closing thoughts on a game like tonight?
Now the Otters are, about 3 games in front of Joliet as far as second place, second and third?
Either 3 or 4 now, yeah.
Yeah, that's a little rocking chair room.
And with the Washington win, they stay 2.5 games back, but they're right there in the conversation. That's all that matters right now. Well, we're glad you joined us for another edition of Otters Baseball. The two of us will be right back here tomorrow night for what should be a very exciting night between these two. They've already battled 2 great games worth. I'm excited to see what the last one brings.
Well, I'm happy to see it because my heart is pumping big time.
Tell you what.
And thank God it was Senior Citizen Night because I felt at home.
Well, for all of us here at the Evansville Otters, we thank you for tuning in to another edition of Otter Ball here on both the Otters Digital Network and Flow Sports. For all of us here at the Evansville Otters, he's Bill McEwen. I'm Matthew Will. We will talk to you tomorrow night as the Otters and Slammers conclude their 3-game set on a Thursday night from Bossy. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.